The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
This is your president speaking. And I approve this message.
Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. Touchdown, touchdown. Let's throw a ball down, first down. Let's throw a ball down every down. First we score, then we clown. Having fun, look around. Nobody loud is a Raider crowd. Nobody proud is a Raider crowd. NFL, how you like me now? We gon' do this Vegas style. Nothing but action. I'm Bo Jackson, hit the goal. Run you over, goal line, jumping over. Go crazy, lose your soul, lose your mind in a black hole. Here's your goal, Super Bowl. Everybody here, get that goal. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Al Davis, John Madden, Greg Papa, and Derek Madden. He's a pirate, can't say there always will be a Vegas Raider. Orange Ale, Gene Upshaw, Jack Tatum, True Outlaw. That is Fred Belitnikov, Lester Hayes, Big and Young, Brown Brothers, Billy and Tim, Funkin' Otto, y'all know Jim, y'all know Lyle, y'all know Ted. Accent put you to bed. Dave Tapper, Cliff Brand, Tom Ford, and Dinky Ken, George Fonda, Howie Long, Marcus Allen, come back home. Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are that Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. We are the Vegas Raiders, just win, baby. Don't need no invitation. We are the Raider Nation. We rock that black and silver. We make them shake and shiver. We make them reconsider. And we still committed. So if you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. I guess I'm the Raider Nation. Play to this out motivation. If you wanna be sinners, you can come and get it. I'm a president of the Raider Nation.
I'm live? Okay. Can you come move the camera for the push-ups? Can you come help me with the camera for the push-ups? Okay, guys. Hello. Happy Wednesday. We're going to start with push-ups when Richard comes out here to make sure the camera's in the ready to go for the push-ups. And then we're going to do some nunchucks. And then I'm actually going to sit out here. I have my umbrella. It's gonna block the sun a little bit. It's a leopard umbrella, of course. And so I want you to Oh, I want you to come move the camera for the push-ups. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, is the camera in the right angle for the push? Oh, okay. Well, no, I had moved it. That's just it. Oh, okay, I'll leave it. Okay. 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 I'll do my push-ups then. I didn't know it was in the right spot. He usually comes out here when I do it. So. Okay. I'm going to do my push-ups. I'm just going to do 20. We'll get into the days and stuff, everything in a second. Get back into my push-ups here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Those have not become super easy yet. It used to be really easy for me to do 20 now. A little bit more struggling, but I'm getting back to it. Now I'm going to do some nunchucks over here. I think we'll go over here. Which one you guys ever have? For nunchucks. Where do you want me to do nunchucks? Where's a good spot to do nunchucks? Does this go right here? Uh-huh. Okay. Good. Can you back up a little bit so I can get away from this chair? Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you. Oh, I watch there's a plant right behind you. Don't step on that plant right behind you. Yeah, I'll squish him. All right, here we go. I'm gonna do some nunchucks. See how long I can go. A little more tired this morning. Oh, it is day 13, no alcohol. Day 10, no sugar. And 8 days to New York. But I am a little bit more tired today than yesterday. We just didn't sleep that well, I think, primarily.
Mark Jesus says good morning.
Oh, good morning, Mark. Good morning. We because we went to bed really early, like around 7, and then they had blacked out the Mets game, so I don't know if it's like you can watch it later or whatever. But Richard said later we could watch it, so we waited, and so we watched it. Like after it had already aired, and so we stayed up pretty late watching the Mets game, and they won. Ooh, they finally got out of this losing streak. They won 3 in a row, but poor Lindor, their team captain, he's shortstop. He does great on defense, but his offense has just been terrible. He used to be so good. I don't know what happened. He had games where he would get a home run he's a switch hitter. He'd get a home run from the left side and the right side in one game, and now he has not had a hit in almost 30 games or something like that, or close to, it's been insane. And he's so good normally, and I'm getting really sad for him because it's hard to see him. Oh wait.
Well, let me get the camera.
Oh. Okay.
Keep talking.
Okay. I'm sad for him because he's one of my favorite players. Just it's really hard to see a player keep because once they get in that slump, I think they get so in their head too. Because every time he goes up, he strikes out, or a pop-up foul out or something, and it's just so frustrating for him. So I hope that turns around. But at least the Mets have won 3 games in a row because they were on a losing streak. It was getting bad. But they're not these aren't games where they're slaughtering the other team. It's they're barely eking out a win. But at least they did it. And Alvarez is back from AAA. So Alvarez is back from AAA, who's our main catcher, and he's doing much better. And they taught him how to catch better because he doesn't squat, which irritates me. Okay, let me do my nunchucks first, then we'll get into Alvarez. But anyways, okay. So I like to do these in the morning, as you guys see. I'm actually, this is kind of, by doing the blog, it's kind of making me come out to do this. Which is good. And it's not long, we just do the push-ups and some nunchucks. And that's what we've always done. I mean, me and Richard have always been very active. We used to get So that always kept us really fit. But mainly we just did the nunchucks and push-ups. I mean, since like 16, the last time we were in the gym, I think. You know. So, yeah, I'm getting a little more energy. But I am a little tired today, but yeah, probably just because we were up most of the night watching the Mets game. And Richard got his phone fixed yesterday, and he put his case on because he already had a case, and we ordered a glass protector thing for the front, and they came with one for that you cover the camera, so he has it all covered now. So you'll all be happy to know Richard's phone is all nice now, and he's gonna keep it nice. So he has it in a case right now. It's the one we're using, but they did it so fast. We thought they were gonna have it for a while. It was only like an hour and a half thing to fix the phone. So like, yeah, come back at like 1:15. We're like, oh, great. So I'm gonna take his phone to New York because my phone isn't working properly. And the thing is, pretty my hair, oh gosh, I'd blow dry and straighten it, and then if anything, like if it was just, the worst is if it was just, barely raining, just like drizzling, then my hair would just frizz out. And so I hated when it was just like a little bit raining. If it started fully, oh shoot, I can hear myself. Pretty sure I can hear myself on this phone. It's not volume. Then my hair would on that phone. That's annoying. Oh, I am annoying. But yeah, I used to get so annoyed when it would just like start sprinkling rain, and which would be like, what is your problem? But then if it just falling rain, I'd like forget it and I kind of scrunch it and be kind of curly. But if it was just like a little bit sprinkling, my hair would just frizz out. But now that I don't blow dry and straighten it, I don't care if it rains or anything, so it's actually kind of nice. But I was destroying my hair because I would straighten it several times a day too, because like I would straighten it in the morning, but then like if I would go to work, I would straighten it again before work, and so sometimes if I worked a couple times, I'd straighten it again. So it was like I was destroying my hair with a thing, straightener and blow dryer. So I haven't used a straightener or blow dryer, like any product on my hair other than like I've used like styling stuff, like the gels, but not any sort of like heat product since 2018. So it took a while. It was really hard at first. Like my hair was so bad at first, and not that it's great now, but it was worse. It was like embarrassing for many. I had 2023 was just an entire bad hair year, but that was because I cut my own hair. I gave myself a like bob. Oh, it was horrible. And it grew out horribly because it wasn't even. It was a mess. But anyways, okay, so today is day 13. No alcohol. Look at all these hummingbirds. Hi, baby. He's flying around the tripod. Well, hello. Yeah, you're happy we got you some food, I know. Oh, I know, and Jeremiah's hogging the thing. I know, I'm sorry. Jeremiah hogs the dang feeder. We have one little guy who he dominates it. It's his. He runs off everyone. But it's only certain times a day. Someone was telling me this, that hummingbirds only guard feeders certain times a day. Like this happens where one hummingbird will dominate a feeder. They really do that. He sits on his little perch above it and he chases off every other hummingbird like he can drink the whole thing himself. So he tries to. But then other times a day, I guess all of them are allowed to go. I don't know. So it's like, I guess that's what hummingbirds do. But anyway, so day 13, no alcohol. Day 10, no sugar, and 8 days to New York. So I'm feeling really good about all those days. Like it's day 13, no alcohol. I'm feeling really strong. So I know last time I got to day 14 and caved, but I was in a very different mentality. Like all during those 14 days, I was still thinking I was going to drink again, and I was like wanting to drink, and I was craving drinking. Now at day 13, when I've decided I'm not drinking, I'm like, I have no desire for alcohol. Oh, and Richard, was that yesterday or was it 2 days ago? Or was it a couple days ago? I don't remember. Whenever it was, I think it was Saturday maybe, even. Richard got Gloria a bottle of wine. And I've like forgot it was even here. He did hide it, but I could find it if I wanted alcohol. I mean, I'm like, no one could really hide anything from me, but I don't go look, But it's good because I don't see it, so I don't think about it. Like if it was still on the counter, he does it more just to like not have it be right in my face. If it was on the counter, then every day I'd have to see it, and it's just like it's better to not if you're trying to avoid alcohol. I mean, if you absolutely have to, like if you work somewhere where you have to be around it, then you have to do it. But like, hey, you, all these hummingbirds, hi, sweetie. Then but if you don't have to, like, don't have it right in front of you, because you can avoid things like when you're seeing them in front of you. Like, and yeah, I mean, we all can have self-discipline, and we do, but it's much easier to avoid things when they're not in your mind, because like you forget about things if they're not right in front of you. Like you think, oh, I'll never forget about the alcohol, but you do. Like I forgot about it kind of the last couple of days. I didn't even think about it. But if it was like every day where I saw it again, saw it, you'd never forget about it. You know what I mean? So it's same with the food. That's unfortunate here. We can't really get rid of all the food because the ladies want the food. But normally in the past, when me and Richard did the keto diet, we just didn't buy anything except for our protein. So, and the water. So like in order to get that food, we'd have to go buy it. So it's another level of a step besides when you're, at home and you're just craving. If something is in your house, you might cave in. But if you have to take that next level of going to the store, even though you go, oh, it's not that hard to go to the store, but it is if you're trying to avoid it, then you still have to go through the thought process, okay, I'm going to go to the store, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to come home, then I'm going to decide to consume this thing that I didn't want to consume. I mean, it's like way more steps than like if you got up in the middle of the night and it was right there, or something like that. Because like Richard is a night eater. I've never been a night eater, but like for him, it's been harder, like for, not now, he's done the 10 days, but before doing the 10 days, he was getting very, having a hard time avoiding the trail mix, which we were getting for Annette. But then Richard, like in the middle of the night, would go eat some of the trail mix. And so, in the past, we just wouldn't have had that in the house. But he now has avoided the trail mix the last 10 days. So we're both feeling just really healthy again, like, and we're liking that, and we're and we're just kind of like changing our habits. So like our habits had gotten a lot more around food, and now like we just kind of just sit in our room a lot more, like if we're not doing anything, like we used to be like kind of like back and forth to the kitchen, or just like being like, I don't know, just always like, okay, what are we gonna do for the next meal, what are what are we doing this, that. Now it's like we know what our meals are. It's hamburgers, beef burgers. So it's like you don't really even want to rush it because you go, okay, I have three times I'm eating today. If I eat it all at once, then I'm gonna have to the rest of the day just sit here and twiddle my thumbs. So it's like you end up wanting to spread it apart further. Like I haven't had breakfast yet. Whereas in the past, when I was kind of like still eating sugar, I'd be like, oh, I want to have my breakfast, and I would think, oh, I'm gonna eat my breakfast so I don't eat sugar. I'm gonna make sure I eat my beef burgers so I don't have any sugar. And so I'd eat my beef burgers really early, but then I'd be like, oh, I'm still hungry, because I was craving. I wasn't really hungry, I was craving. So then I go, oh, let me eat some more beef burgers. Now I'm like way too full. And then, and then you get in this weird thing where you're stuffing yourself to avoid eating the thing. And in the beginning that you kind of have to do it that way. Like I always say, when you're first getting off the sugar, you might eat more protein than you will later. Because that's what you kind of have to do, is you have to just be like, okay, I'm really hungry, fine, eat some more protein. And you'll get tired of like eating so much protein, and then you'll kind of even out. So we're at the point where we're kind of tired of it, where we're just like, yeah, we'll eat it when we eat it. Oh, there's so many hummingbirds today. This is fabulous. And Jeremiah's not running everyone off now. Must be, unless he took a break and he'll come back. But they're so cute. I love hummingbirds. They're so sweet. The other birds can be quite a nuisance, unfortunately. I love all birds, but you can't feed some of them because they become such a nuisance, like the pigeons. But hummingbirds are just, they don't bother anybody. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you'll never see them. Yeah, it's so cute. There's just so much wildlife out here. Oh, I was watching Richard's coyote video. I had never watched it, that short, from the other day. I love our coyotes. People don't like coyotes. I love coyotes, even though they eat the bunnies, which I love bunnies too, but that's just part of life, you know what I mean? But I love coyotes. But they don't like them because they eat people's dogs and cats, I guess. Probably primarily cats. But yeah, it's just so peaceful out here this morning. It's really nice because this time of year, sometimes it's so hot in the mornings even. I hate when it's hot in the mornings and the evenings in Vegas. Those are the times I don't like. When literally like it's still 100-something degrees and the sun is set and it's like 10 o'clock at night, and it's like, I don't like that when it's, because I like when you have chilly mornings and chilly evenings. That's how I grew up. I grew up in Northern California, and it was never hot in the evening. I mean, it's very similar to New York weather, except for not so dramatic. But like where you kind of a lot of times needed to bring a little light jacket no matter what time of year it was, and even maybe pants, because the weather would change because it was close to the mountains, where New York is the water causes that, the ocean. But here when it's a hot day, it's hot from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to bed. It is just smoldering where you can't even really be outside. And that's when I don't like Vegas. But it's only from June to August at its worst. And it's not that entire time. Bad summers it can be, where it's like just hot those 3 months. But like this summer has not been. This has been like, you know, a couple days hot, a couple cool days, which has been really nice. It's been a good summer, actually. I mean, I've spent some of it away. So guess what? Today marks, I've been back for a month, exactly. I left New York June 23rd. And now it's July 23rd, right? Do I have the date right? If it's July 23rd, it's been 1 month. And now I'm going back in 8 days. So yeah, I'm going back in just a little over a month, which is my own fault, but it's not a bad thing. Like, as much as I love my family, I also do love going to New York. So it's like one of those things. And like for week 1, I have a blast. Week 2, I'm kind of ready to come home. But I like going for 2 weeks because a week would just be too short to go to New York. Like, it's like, if I'm going to go to New York, I want to go for 2 weeks, but I'm usually ready after week 1 to kind of come home. But I'm still enjoying myself because it's still New York City, you know. It's still Manhattan, but I definitely get homesick. I really do get homesick because I'm very codependent with Richard, and I don't mind saying that. I don't care. We are. And I get very lonely without him because here, I don't need much to entertain me because, like, I have Richard, and, like, just him being in my presence, like, I don't know, we're always just chatting. We talk all day long. He gets irritated with me because he's always trying to work on stuff, and I never stop talking, as you can tell. So I was talking, like, well, yeah, just shut up once in a while. Because he just can't get anything done. And nope. I don't mind if he tells me to shut up, I just keep talking. It's not offensive. Like some people, how dare you say shut up? Not the way around here. We say it to each other all the time because, like, we never stop talking. So, and we both know that we talk a lot. But anyways, when I'm in New York, I have no one to talk to. So I call him all the time, but, you know, that's limited because he's doing things here, you know what I mean? But there, I would just talk on the phone all day to him because I'm like, I mean, unless I'm walking around, but, like, when I'm in my room, because I'm just used to having him. So sometimes I will just put on the FaceTime and we won't even be talking, but we'll just be sitting there with each other, and, like, he'll be talking to Gloria and Annette or something, but I'll just feel like I'm home. Because, like, he'll set it up when he's cooking or something, and like, they're just talking to each other, and I'm just sitting there listening in New York. And I always have my little earbuds, so I'm not, like, holding the phone. If I was holding the phone, that'd be tiring. So it'll be like, I'll have my earbuds, and I'll have them on a tripod, and we'll just have it up for hours, like, on the FaceTime, and I'm just, like, feel like I'm home sometimes. So that's nice. But I really do, as much as I used to bitch about things in the beginning, I've always loved my family. There was so much craziness going on that I got really angry. I got angry at everyone, but I'm not angry anymore. And but I always loved them, even when I was angry. It didn't come out very lovingly. I was, you know, very harsh love. So now I've definitely become softer, and I think it is a little bit with age, to be honest. You do mature. And it's weird, like, I talked to some other people that just recently turned 40, and they're like, yeah, you do kind of, like, 40 is one of those things where you're just no longer a kid anymore, you know what I mean? Like, 30s, you still kind of like you're like, oh, the person in his 30s, and don't give them too much shit, you know? Oh, look at all these hummingbirds. It's a hummingbird frenzy. This is wonderful. Couldn't ask for a better thing to be swarmed by hummingbirds. That's amazing. You know, you always let people slide. You're like, oh, they're in their 20s or 30s. You know, they're still a kid. You say that even though, you know, they are adults, but, like, you don't expect that much. Oh, that person's 40 acting like that? Get out of here, you know? Oh, 50 acting like that? You know what I mean? Like, you have a certain level of expectation according to age. Like, someone in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, acting a certain way, 100s, you go, oh, you know, they should be more mature than that. But when they're kind of below 40, you're like, nah, you're still growing up. So I definitely took my time growing up because I didn't have a mom after 20, so I kind of got stunted a little bit. So it took me a little bit to kind of pull my head out of my ass, I guess. And, crazy Ozzy Osbourne, speaking of my mom dying, crazy that, yeah. You know what's crazy though is just how much people are upset by this. Now, I mean, he was a great artist. It's very sad, but the fact is, like, these people are upset that don't know him and probably didn't even listen to his music that much. It's just weird how people get so upset by a celebrity dying. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this weird thing that, like, I mean, it's always sad when someone dies. Believe me, my mom died, and it was the most tragic thing ever. But, like, I don't know Ozzy Osbourne. You know what I mean? I appreciate his music. But, like, you know, other than, like, I don't know him personally. So it's very interesting how people are just, like, they just lose their mind over celebrities dying. It is a very interesting, and they're always shocked by it. But I'm like, people do die. He is 76, and that is not too old, but it's also not super young. And he just recently got Parkinson's, and, you know, he's always, you know, been a little bit off. So I think it's not something that was, like, the most tragic thing for his family. I think if anything, it was more like a, oh, now he's in a better place kind of thing, because he wasn't feeling well, you know. I mean, and the Parkinson's is hard and stuff. So it's just interesting how people are so stunned when I'm like, I mean, 76 is not super old, but it's also not super young. It's not like, oh, wow, he's 27 or something, you know, like some of these others, you know. It's like, you know, he's an age that people do pass on, you know, in their 70s, 80s, 90s, barely anyone makes it to 100s, you know. But it is always very sad to hear when someone passes, because I do know what that feels like to lose someone, you know, so I feel for their family. But like I said, you know, I think his health has been bad for a little bit. I know he just recently did a concert, but that was like his first time doing a concert in forever, right? But I think he hasn't had great health. And but I'm sure they're very sad. I mean, no one ever wants to lose a family member. But it's always interesting how these people who have no connection to this person, they just know them from TV, you know, the reality show or the music, just lose their mind. But it is interesting how people connect so much to a celebrity to where they're so upset when they don't actually really know them. But I do get it, you know, because I don't know. Maybe, I think it happens more if you've never lost someone. Because I think if you've lost someone, you're kind of like, well, I feel for their family, but I'm not feeling for myself in this loss. You know what I mean? It's not my loss. You know what I mean? Where I feel like some people that are fans feel like it's their loss. Like, they are like, no, it's the family's loss. Like, you don't know the person. You know what I mean? But yeah, I always hated that, like, my condolences stuff and stuff. It's like, it's the weirdest things people do when someone dies, though, to the family. Like, this the weird, like, it's just weird. It is very interesting how people react to death. I don't like how people usually react to death, not when you're close to it. Like the way my family reacted to my mom's death and my brother's death, especially my brother's death, was disgusting to me. I mean, people get very ridiculous when someone dies, where you're like, how can you act this way? This person just died, with like trying to take their things and stuff, and wanting to, you know, be the center of attention at the funerals and things like that, wanting to be the most important person that person knew. Just this weird thing, you know, where like, oh, I'm gonna buy the biggest flower arrangement to show off, or I'm gonna, you know, just weird things people do, which some of the things are kind of nice, but it's also like weird. Like the people step in that really have nothing to do with it, and then they just kind of want to be the center of attention. Sometimes it's weird. Like, it's hard to say. If you've ever had someone die, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, like, you see your family in a new light. It's not always good. Where you're like, what is wrong with you? Like, you know, my aunts and uncles had, like, you know, name tags on my, you know, grandparents' things, you know, when they passed. It's just disgusting. It's just ridiculous. You know, people, I wanted nothing from anybody that died. I didn't even get anything from my mom. My sister put aside some things for me, like little thingies. I don't have any of them now, but my mom didn't have any money, supposedly. If she did, my stepdad spent it all. But So we didn't get anything like that. But, you know, my sister went up there. I was in the Air Force, and she went up there, and, you know, they sorted through the things. But then my stepdad sold the house and pocketed the money. But, so they had shipped a handful of things of mine, and that were, like, my mom's things to my dad's. So I had them for a while. My dad still has, actually, the thing that's the most important to me. So as long as he has it, I'm okay with it. My mom had this antique dresser that became mine since I was a baby, but it was originally hers. And it's only 3 drawers, and it's just a small one, you know, but it's this beautiful antique little dresser with like these little bear claw, you know, feet. And it's just the cutest thing. And it had this paper in it, which was like, Raggedy Ann and Andy, you know those little guys, in it from the time I was like a baby. And I used it up until I went to Panama, really, yeah. And then I gave it to my dad. I'd actually just recently given it to my dad right before, because I was living with my uncle, and I said, why don't you just keep it at your house? And so he has it, but that's like the only thing that it was like ever like something that was meaningful to me. So I'm glad still someone has it. I'm sure my dad still has it, because he knew it was my mom's too. And my dad won't admit that he cared, but he was married to my mom for 13 years, and he said he didn't care she died. I'm like, well, that's kind of impossible and an asshole thing to say. You can't be married to someone for 13 years and then kind of be responsible for their death with the way she died and then not care. That doesn't make sense. So he has that, so that's good. But anyways, and then they sent me all my teddy bears, or a bunch of them, and a bunch of them got ruined because of beehives. Because my dad put them in this thing that used to be their jacuzzi but didn't work anymore. So it was like one of these rooms that it was outside, but had a thing, but it was like, it had holes that bugs could get through, you know, but it's supposed to block the sun kind of thing. And so they infested my teddy bear collection. Bees, they made beehives in there, which I thought was funny since bears like honey. I thought it was kind of funny. But it ruined like almost my entire collection of bears, which was a lot. I only ever got stuffed animals for gifts. Like my entire life. I asked my mom when I got so many times, I said, could I get something else? Oh, sure. Well, like maybe like clothes sometime for Christmas. Something like that. Oh, sure. Every year. Teddy bear after teddy bear after teddy bear. Which I liked teddy bears. But I didn't need like 900 teddy bears. And no clothes. I mean, I had like no clothes. I'd only borrow my sister's. When my sister went to college, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be bare naked every day. This is ridiculous. I have like no clothes. So then I asked my mom, more teddy bears. I can't clothe myself with teddy bears over that teddy bear dress you made me wear. I was a dork because of my mom. And everyone knew my mom. Like, my mom always worked at the schools I went to. So everyone knew my mom, and she was kind of wacky. So they knew that I had to do these things with my mom, like that she had made me wear these outfits and stuff, but still didn't help. I don't know, I could never say I didn't like anything. So since I didn't say I didn't like it, she assumed I liked things that I really didn't like. So like if she ever bought something, you couldn't say you didn't like it. Oh, you couldn't return something. That would devastate her. So, oh, it's wonderful. How come you haven't worn that wonderful outfit I got you? For a while when me and my sister were young, my aunts used to try to like match us. Like we were twins. And we're like 2.5 years apart. You don't want to match when you're 2.5 years apart. And I was like, I don't understand why you guys get us matching outfits every year. So I either had matching outfits with my sister or nothing. And then, Grandma one time took us shopping, and she let Sarah go, my sister, shopping on her own, but Grandma comes shopping with me. So you can imagine what my outfits look like with Grandma picking them out. I was like 7, I think, so she didn't think I could shop on my own. We were like at JCPenney or something. Worse. And then she made us take photos and wanted to get our hair done. And I didn't get any say on this. And we have the funniest photos. Me and my sister have the funniest kid photos. Oh gosh, our hair was always awful. Awful. We had bad hair. My mom would get us perms. with short hair, so they just go out. I had a perm one time that just went out like that because they gave me like one of those bobs with a perm. Oh. And then they used to do the bangs up thing with me, so they would call me a turkey. And then I had the hair that went to the sides, and a devil and a turkey all in one. It was ridiculous. It made me not really get embarrassed very easily. My mom also didn't call me by my name. She called me straight. Which had nothing to do with sexual orientation. It's just this weird thing. She would say straight up and left and right. So she'd be straight. And then she called me Joyce May, because my middle name's not May. Never called me Joy, like ever, unless I was in trouble. I never by my first and middle name. I've never heard my mom call me Joyanna, like ever, unless she was writing it on a legal document. But she would say Joy if I was in trouble. That's the only time I'd be called Joy. Anyways, let me see. What's going on today? Oh, today, yeah, so it's 8 days to New York. So I leave not tomorrow, but the next Thursday. And, Richard booked all of my hotels except for, well, they're all booked and paid for except for the last, 3 days of my trip. So that's awesome. And it's on credit, which we have no problem paying it off. It's just during summer is the slowest time in Vegas. So it's best if we can push it towards September, October, November to pay it off, because we're paying it off in 6 months. So, but we'll, it'll be kind of, summer will be almost over, as we're paying it off. I mean, we'll have to start in, September. Yeah, it'll start in September. So yeah, that'll be better than June, July, or August. June, July, and August are the worst months in Vegas because it's too hot here. So unless you have to come to Vegas or unless you really like the heat, usually people don't come during summer. The best time is September, October, November for Vegas, actually. Or even March is really good for Vegas. January and February is sometimes a little bit chilly. Not chilly like other places, but it can get cold. We do get snow once in a while here, not much, but a little bit. And they do get it sometimes on the Strip, like a little bit, barely sticks. But March is gorgeous, and September, October, November are gorgeous in Vegas. December sometimes gets a little bit windy and cold too. But what gets cold here is the wind. When the temperature is low and then it gets windy, it can be pretty cold here. But the thing is, it's not cold like New York cold, So I'm going to New York. It's probably going to be pretty warm the whole time I'm there, because they've actually been, I guess it's been really hot the last week. I think it was. I think they were saying that with the humidity, it was feeling 100 degrees there, which is hot for New York. The temperature wasn't 100, but it was with the temperature and the humidity, it was they're saying feeling about 100 degrees. But I don't know what it's going to be when I get there. I don't ever check the weather in advance. But okay, so Mets game last night. Mets won for the third time, which is really good because they were in such a slump. Poor Lindor. Lindor's oh, there you are. Hello, buddy. Oh my gosh, hello. Well, look at your lavender chest. Aren't you pretty? Did you guys see that? Oh, they love me. She has a lavender chest. How pretty. I love hummingbirds. Wow, so many this morning. And Jeremiah is guarding again. He sits on top. And he's fat. He's fat and stocky because he eats too much. He guards it. Yeah, there he's eating again. He eats and then gets back on his porch on top to make sure no one else comes around. And if anyone comes, he chases them off. And then while he's chasing one off, another one will come, and he's like, oh, darn it! And then he's chasing that one off, and then he has to run back and chase the other one. And sometimes they gang up on him because they know what he's doing. So they'll come in a bunch, and then they're able to get some. It's really funny because he can only chase off one at a time. I'm like, why are you doing that? I guess about it when I first saw him do it. I was like, why are you doing that? You're not even drinking all yourself. I guess they just do that. And it's only for certain hours, and then they move along. And they come back the next morning and do it again. Yep, there he is. Just chase off another one. But anyways, so Alvarez was our catcher that they sent to AAA. because he's too slow because he does it on one knee and he was just too slow. But he's really good offensively. Like, he gets home runs a lot. And Terrence, the other catcher, is way better defensively and pretty bad offensively. He's been doing okay recently, but he's not known to be great offensively. And so they brought Alvarez back, and we did win last night, which was great. And I think he probably played the day before that we won. We didn't get to see that one because they black him out. So annoying. So you pay for all these different things. We gave up. We did it like 3 times, and we're like, forget it. Because every time they black it out, it's a different one. So you pay for your MLB app, and then you get to see most games, but then whenever a team wants to, they'll black it out. And so apparently the Angels black out all their games to Vegas, depending on where you are, and so you have to pay for an extra thing. This was FanDuel, so we said forget it. So we just waited this time until after it was over, so we couldn't watch it live, which kind of sucks. It's not the same energy when you're watching on replay, because you're like, when you're watching it live, you're like, oh, anything could happen. You're like, something has already happened, even if you don't know the outcome, it's already over. It's just a little bit different thing. But Alvarez, they taught him to put so he only does one knee, which I don't know if you know the difference. Catchers usually squat, which is very tiring. So the good catchers can squat, and the not so good catchers have to do one knee because they get tired. So he does one knee, but what they taught him is to put his back foot up, and now he's much faster because he was on one knee and then putting his foot down too. So just like a really lazy stance. So they said you can be on one knee, but you got to have that back foot up, like on your toe, so that you're ready to go. And so now he's moving much faster, and he beat this one guy for a tag that was going to score, which was only, I don't actually know I forget what the final was. I think it was 3-2, but I can't even remember right now because I watched it so late last time. We watched it really late because we had to watch it after it was over. And we watched it even later than that because we'd fallen asleep, and then when we woke up, we finally watched it. So we were watching around midnight, I think, and then we watched it to the end. So, but anyways, I think it was 3-2. But anyways, it would have been another score if he hadn't been really quick with this tag for this guy that was coming in to home plate. So I'm excited because Terrence is great, but they were overworking him too because they had Alvarez at AAA, and ever since they moved Alvarez to AAA, we've been losing because it's a toss-up, like who's the better catcher, because you got one that's better offensively, one that's better defensively, but now that Alvarez is doing better, then he is a better catcher because he got a home run yesterday. And I think there was one on base, so I think it was a 2-point home run, if I remember correctly. And Terrence, the other catcher, really struggles, and then Sanger is not even, he's the third one, so he's not nearly as good as those two. When he plays, it's rough. But the problem is our offense is sucking right now. So our defense is starting to get better and better, but our offense is just in the toilet. And our pitchers are picking it back up too, and I guess we got a couple of them back from, like, some of them were on injury and stuff, so we were like short pitchers. It was a mess. It was hard to watch, not because like I have to have them win, but you feel bad for the players when they lose and lose and lose. And Lindor, he has to get out of this slump. Otherwise, they're going to have to get rid of him. Like, they're going to have to move him to AAA, but that's going to be very hard because he's the captain. That's the only reason why he hasn't got moved to AAA yet, with the way he's hitting, the way he's not hitting. But he's the captain, and he's really good defensively, and he's such a good motivator for everyone else. But he is not hitting, like, at all. It's insane because he was one of the best. I mean, he was like first in the lineup for the longest time because he was like one of the best. And it's just like, it's bad. It's really bad. And it's so hard to see because I can see he just gets more. Oh, here's another hummingbird. Hi, cutie. He gets so frustrated. Look at you. Hi. Everyone's so friendly. Well, hello. Hello. Hi. I'm really ready for him. I'm like, are you going to peck my toe? What are you going to do? It's hard to see a player keep suffering like that where they can't get it, because I think he's just too in his head now. Like, I think he's gotten so in his head that he cannot hit a ball, that happens with players. You know, they get in, you know, where they're doing good, and then they get really in these streaks. They just can't hit a darn ball. And if he does hit it, it's for a, you know, a fly out or foul out. You know. So he hasn't done. The only thing is that he's got some runs from getting walked. It's the only thing he's achieved recently is getting walked a couple times, and then he got a run, but it's, oh, poor guy. So that did help. So he still is, you know, doing the best he can for the team, but it's sad to see because he's such a good player. But anyways, I've become such a Mets fan. I'm really into the team. Like, I really like this team. I watch the other teams while they're playing the Mets. There's a handful of players I kind of like a little bit, but not really like the Mets players. I don't know. I really like the team. And I mean, I know because it is my team, maybe, but I don't know, something like when I just see the other guys, like, I just don't see the camaraderie at the other teams. I just don't see like the heart as much. Like some of the other teams are like way better, you know, where they just like nail it, and if they miss something, it's like, you know, like that's how they end up losing, but it's just like they're just on it. Where our team is like often is just like, you know, it's a little bit of a shit show out there, but they get it done. But it's just like so much heart in the game, and like with the Yankees, it's just so like they're just so like mechanical, and even when they, you know, score or when they, you know, get a hit, it's just less enthusiastic. But the Mets are like do this thing, you know, they get all excited, and the whole bullpen, I mean, they're just like up, I mean, they jump, I mean, they seem like they really do all like each other too, and I'm sure they don't all fully like each other. But you don't see like tension between the players. Like you don't see where like, oh, those guys clearly don't like each other. Like I don't see that with the Mets, where you can literally see other teams where they just like, you know, it's like kind of, they're not as much a team. It's more like one man, you know, everyone's for themselves and they hope that they, you know, make it work all together. But the Mets feel like they really do get happy for each other. Like even the players when they're in a slump, I really feel they're happy when their teammates are doing well, because it's like, as a team, you still want to win, but some people get so worried about them being the number one or being, you know, the best on the team. But like other people, like it seems with the Mets, they're like, as much as they want to be number one, it's like, as long as we're all doing good together. So if one person is doing bad and the other one is picking up the slack, so they're really supportive of each other. So I really enjoy it. And when they win or lose, the manager doesn't act really any different. You know, you get a little irritated that he doesn't get super excited when they win, but it's a great thing that he's just like, you know, because they win and lose games. So it's like when they talk to him afterwards, when they win, he talks the same as if they lost. I mean, it's like, I mean, not like in a negative way, but it's just like, you know, he's just like, it was a great game, but, you know, we got a lot of games, you know, and it's like, if it was a losing game, well, you know, we got things to work on. I mean, it's just like, he's just the same mentality. It's not like, whoa, yeah, we slaughtered them, or like, oh man, the guy's really sick. He's always like, well, you know, the boys, you know, they do the best they can. They can't win them all. You know, I mean, he's like a super supportive Carlos Mendoza. He makes me mad sometimes with his decisions, but I think overall he's a really good manager. So that's my Mets talk for people that don't like baseball. Well, then they get over it. And I used to not be, okay, I always had a fondness of baseball in my heart because of my family, but it was not my favorite sport by any means, and I did not like to watch it on TV. I liked watching it in person. Like I'd gone to my mom's softball games as a kid. I'd gone to the Giants and Phillies game as a kid. And like I said, my stepbrother Sean always played baseball for Special Olympics, which baseball and Special Olympics is very entertaining. That's entertaining to watch for sure, because you never know what's going to happen. But and then, you know, Sean always played, you know, baseball video games, and my family was obsessed with always watching the Mets when I was a child. But in the last several years, you know, as family members passed, like once my grandpa passed, that actually happened when I was 10, you know, less people watched it. My uncle still watched it, but, you know, then when my mom passed, I didn't see my uncle anymore. So, really, as I became adult, I had really nothing to do with baseball. And me and Richard, the bunny that just ran right by me. The bunny that ran right by me. Hi there. He just ran right by me. I love the wildlife out here. Me and Richard watched a lot of football, a lot of soccer, and a lot of basketball in all the years we've been together, and that started in Panama, but we never watched baseball together. And when I went to New York, I just happened to get a Mets hat. I didn't even mean to get a Mets hat. It just spoke to me because of my family's thing. I just didn't even think about it was Mets. I was like, oh, I want this orange and blue. I know those colors. But I didn't even in my mind think it was. I just thought it was a New York hat. And then when I'm like, oh, it's a Mets hat. No way. And then so I gave one to Rich. I gave it to Rich. This was in 2023, I think, when I went, or maybe 2024. I think 2024, but like in the beginning, and then he ended up ordering another one because that one didn't really fit him right. And then he's like, we should start watching the games. And then now we're just like the biggest fans. But it was kind of like a thing that kind of happened throughout my whole life. It wasn't like I never had any interaction with baseball and now I'm the biggest. It's just I had not for many years. But like I said, as a child. But I was never that into watching it on TV. I found it a little bit boring because I didn't know to like watch the different stats and watch all of the different positions. I was just, as a child, just watching the player try to get on base, hit the ball and try to get on base, try to get a home run. And as a child, one of my favorite movies was Sandlot, and one of my other favorite movies was A League of Their Own and Top Gun. But those two are both big baseball movies. A League of Their Own is with Gina Davis and Tom Hanks, where they make the girls play during the war. And then Sandlot's the one with all the kids that play baseball in the backyard, and there's a dog that they're scared of in the neighbor's yard. We loved that. We knew like all the lines to that movie, me and my sister and my two stepbrothers when we were young. But so I've always had a fondness for baseball, but I didn't particularly find it fun to watch, and now I find it to be the most fun sport to watch. I don't even watch any other sport now. I'm like, no thank you. Football, no thank you, no thank you. Maybe basketball, but basketball is really the most fun in the last 2 minutes. I think, well, being in basketball, like, even if they're doing great, who knows what's going to happen, because there's so many points. Where what's good about baseball and soccer is there's way less sports. I still like soccer, but we don't watch that very often anymore. But there's way less points, which some people don't like that. I like that because it's so much more dramatic when people score. Whereas like in basketball or even football, there's just a lot more points. So Richard was like, saw this thing, it was some soccer game, and the score was like 50 something. What in the world? It was like 50 to like 30 something. What? And he's like, oh, women's soccer. We were like, that would never happen in men's soccer. Sorry, I like to say women or men are the same with athletics, but we're not. We're not. Like, that's why we do different sports. I mean, I'm not saying men are necessarily strong. I'm just saying women's soccer is a way slower pace than men's soccer. It's just the way it is. And you could never, I don't even know how you'd score that much in men's soccer. Maybe if it was like little kids, but not like professionally. But yeah, we used to watch during the World Cup, and we would bet a little bit. Richard likes betting. I could care less about betting. I really don't like. I tell him it's not bet. I don't bother with that. I just want to watch the game. I prefer to watch the game and not bet, because if I bet, then it's not that I never bet against my team, but there might be something where like you don't have your home run yet, and it's the 9th, and you go, if the team scored right now, the other team, then then my team would have to go again. I mean, then I go, no, but like, this happened like last night. But I go, no, I want them to win, because you're like, they need a win, where it's too risky, But things like that happen, but I never bet against my team. Richard sometimes he'll like bet on a home run from the other team. I never do that, because I'm like, no, then you're saying you want the other team to get a point. I don't want to do that. But he'll do that sometimes. We'll do like one player from the other team to get a home run, and then like a player from our team to get a home run. Those are like, if you get those two, those are like good bets. But I'm like, I don't like that, because then you're betting for their team to get a point, which is risky in baseball. You know what I mean? You said there's not that many points. Sometimes there can be, but often not a lot. But anyways, so what else is going on? I still need to clean my car. Maybe today could be a good day. Problem is, you don't want to wash your car when it's really, really hot. That's not good, because you're going to get water spots all over it. And this water is so harsh here that it's going to look bad if I try to wash it when it's too hot. So I keep wanting to do it in the morning, but then I end up blogging in the morning. And then by the time I get off the blog, it's hot, and then I can't wash the car. But the problem is we can't take it through it. One of the drive-through things. You know what we should do? which would probably be easier, is take it to one of the ones that you spray it yourself, not like where you drive it through. That'd probably be even easier than trying to do it, here, because I might do it though. It'd probably be a good block. But the problem is, like I said, I have to do it really early morning. Otherwise it's just too hot. Whereas those things have like a cover, but I don't have a cover. I can't wash it in the garage. So you're outside, with no cover. And I need to do that. But let's see what else is going on. We're doing really well with the diet. For those of you that are jumping in that didn't know, it's day 13, no alcohol. Day 10, no sugar for me and Richard. I had the luxury of having Whole Foods beef the last couple of days, but today we're going to be back to Smith's just because as we get closer to New York, we really want to watch our pennies and our dollars to make sure in case Vegas is slow in the next couple of days. I only have 8 days. I have enough, because once I'm in New York, it's fine. But it's the making it to New York, and that's why I'm going, is because it's so slow in Vegas. So we're gonna do tight pennies for the, remainder of the 8 days, unless Vegas just has like a great weekend or something like that, where I can, okay, we're fine. But like I said, my hotel is paid for all of but 3 days, and I think I'm going for 12 days. So yeah, so 9 days are paid for. So that's great. And then I can't remember if Richard booked my return flight. I keep saying don't worry about it until I get to New York, but he's like, we better get it now because it might go up. Because right now it's only around like 100 something, but sometimes it can go up to closer to 300 or 400. We already paid for my there, but I sometimes just get my return one because I don't do two-way. We do one way and one way. Sometimes, because once I'm in New York, there's plenty of money, but it's the here to New York. So I'm like, I keep telling them, just save that money in case you guys need it till I work in New York. I know I'm working Friday. I arrive Thursday. I might work Thursday night. It depends on the client that was here in Vegas if he can see me that night. He really wants to, but his job is a job that is super busy on the end of the month. And he's leaving the next day to make it even busier for, if you're leaving for 2 weeks for your job, because he's like the owner of his job, and very busy at the end of the month. And so he's like, this is literally the worst day, the 31st, but it's the only day he would be able to see me, because then he leaves August 1st. So it is just totally dependent on him, but I will see him. That would be great to make money the day I arrive, because I normally don't work the day I arrive because I'm usually pretty tired, and I arrive usually, into the evening by the time because I take the subway, which takes about an hour and a half. And so, you land whatever time, then about an hour and a half on the subway to get to Manhattan. And then, you got to check in and stuff. By the time I get to my hotel, and I'm like, it's already been a 5-hour flight, and, I probably sat at the airport for a million hours. I'm just kind of tired when I get to New York. And now it's always also 3 hours ahead. So now I've lost 3 hours too. So it's usually pretty late by the time I get to New York. And but I will totally see him, and it would be a blessing because he's an easy client, and he's nice, and it's someone I know, and and it would be great. And then I already have money the night. But if not, then I already have an appointment the next day with someone I already know. And this guy always sees me like the second day I'm there, which is super fortunate, because sometimes it takes a second to get new business because they have to kind of see your ads and stuff, and you can't run your ad too early. Because the ads run for 15 days, so I'm going for 12. So I can run it a couple of days before, but not too early before. And you don't want to run it too early, because then people think you're there, and then they get irritated. You're not here, why are you running ad? Well, you're trying to, get people knowing you're coming. And I can't text people too much, because part of the issue with my phone was, I think I got marked as spam by texting people. Because I'd text people that I'd seen in the past, but some people probably have significant others or whatever, and some people had told me to, but it's been so many years that they maybe don't want that now, or they don't remember, or they're like, who is this? And they just so they have those features now that you can say mark as spam or whatever, but I guess if that happens too much, your phone starts to not work right or whatever. It's like annoying, because it thinks you're just like spamming people, which I wasn't spamming people, but it's people I know, but I get it. I don't do that unless they've told me that I could, but it's been many years, so people's lives change. Like, oh, jeez. I try to be discreet as possible when I text them, so that is not, but still, but normally I never text my clients from the past unless they text me for discretion reasons. But people do say, oh, when you come back to New York, make sure you give me a text. They've been saying that for years. But then when you come, they're like, oh. But anyway, so this time, I don't know. I don't want to have that happen again. So I'm only going to text the people that I saw last trip. Not like, because normally I'd text the people that I'd seen other trips. And sometimes this is too far of a time frame where they're like, so I'm going to text the people I saw last trip, and that's probably it. And say, hey, I'm back. Because literally, like, all those people said text me, because I told them I was coming back pretty soon. They said, text me when you come back next time. I want to see you again. So. Anywho, let me think. Oh, I started packing. I have all of, like, I have everything packed that can't go in the suitcase, that can go in the suitcase now. Like, anything like that I'm using still, like clothes, have not gone in. So, like, clothes, shoes, bras, panties. But I already have all my toiletries. And I did not buy one of those things. Did you guys see that? That was Albertsons. I thought they had lost their mind. So there was several things that were $11.99. Some were $9.99 for travel size. I was like, I don't know what they charge for the full thing, for real, because I thought we pay $11.99 when we're getting ripped off for the shampoo that we like of a large bottle. That's like what they charge at Whole Foods. We get it on Amazon for these huge bottles for like $17, like these massive ones of the same thing. They're like the ones with the pumps. But we get, this one that was about, like yay big, and it's more like in a tube. $11.99 was what they charge at Whole Foods, which I thought was way too much for like a full size thing. I said $11.99 for a travel. I must be old, because these things used to be like 99 cents and at most like $1.50. The only thing that was like $1 something was that little spray. But after they made me mad, I didn't get paid $1.25 for your spray either, you punks. I thought that was astronomical. I mean, I don't know how they expect people to pay that for a travel size thing. No. I mean, it's like 2 uses for $11.99. That's like not even Manhattan prices. In Manhattan, you get them cheaper. I mean, I'll buy my travel size in Manhattan. Forget it. I was trying to save money by buying it in Vegas. What in the world? I mean, I think Walmart's cheaper. I think Albertsons just lost their mind. But still, I didn't buy anything there. I didn't get the toothpaste. I said, because everything has to be small, because I only do the carry-on. I don't do check-on on the way there. I do a check-on on the way back with all my souvenirs and extra stuff I accumulate while I'm there. I always, like, have things that I used while I was there. Like, I'll buy spices for my burgers. I'll often buy like a spatula, and so we have a lot of redundant. Sometimes I've bought scissors to cut my meat. Depending, some hotels have those things that have little, like, we'll have a knife and a fork or something. Some don't. So sometimes I have to go buy all those things. So I'll bring home all these little thingies, and so they can't, because my bag is like stuffed when I head there. It's pretty packed to the gills. I use my suitcase, carry-on suitcase, in one bag, the carry bag. And that's all you can have. You can't even have a purse. Your purse has to go inside that bag. I don't know if you guys know that. It's just 2 items for for most flights now, where you can't even have, your purse is an item. So your purse has to fit within the other items. So you can have, one that goes above and one that goes below, and that's it. And so I learned that the hard way. I had to sneak my purse under my long jacket that one trip because I couldn't fit it. But now I know to leave room, so I always leave room now in my bag for my purse. Because I'm not going to wear my long jacket. I'm going to probably just wear like that little pullover or something. I only wear the long jacket when it's cold. Otherwise, it's just too awkward at the airport. Oh, I heard, do we not have to take our shoes off? Is that now? Is that happening? I heard that was changing. I'd like that. It's annoying having to take your shoes off. But I don't really care. I kind of have the routine if we have to. But it's easier to not have to take all that stuff off. I have it pretty down. Lately, I have had it so down that they have not been stopping my bags. My first couple of trips, they stopped my bags because I think I had something that was too big for the like I had a hairspray thing that it wasn't hairspray, it was like a hair something that I don't use hairspray, it was like a sprit, what is it called, I guess, for the curling, make it curly, and it was too big, so they took that out. But they stop your whole bag, for that. I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna stop for? Because then you put your bag in a different section. And so now I'm getting better. But I do have a full-size toothpaste, but it's almost empty. So I think I should make sure I fold it up. But I don't think they'll stop me for that. Because, you have to have, like, the little travel-size things for everything. But I think it's as long as the stuff's not full, because I think it's I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have to go buy myself a little toothpaste so I can stop with that. I hate when they stop you. No, I always have plenty of time. It doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things I feel like, ooh, yeah, I did it without them having to do an extra thing. Is you feel like when you walk through so smoothly, it's always nice. When you're not the one that they're like, often I get stopped when I go through the thing because I wear jewelry, so they'll pat you down, but that's about it. Because you don't have to take your jewelry off, but they make you lift your jewelry because your jewelry sets off the thing and then they pat you down. But that's about it. And let me see. I'm excited that my hotels are paid for most of the stay. That takes a lot of anxiety away. Where normally I'm having to pay as I go. Now I still have to pay a pretty good amount for those last 3 days, because it's like the weekend to Monday and maybe even to Tuesday. I don't know if he has. I think might just be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but the weekends are the most expensive. But still, if that's all I have to pay for this trip and then the rest is like credit, that's going to be so helpful, because then most of the money is going to come towards bills and everything here, where a lot of times I was paying for the hotels, and we will have to pay, but it's getting pushed out, for like 6 months, which will be really helpful. And because even if I go to another trip before 6 months, that's fine, because that'll be closer to out of the further we are from summer, the better Vegas is. So as we get closer to September, it's better. But July is bad. July is the worst month. The only time we ever took a vacation was in July, because we sat around for so many years. We're like, this is even pre-pandemic. During summer, we always had enough money, so because we didn't have very high expenses, but it would just be boring, and you would just kind of be irritated that you're running through your money during summer. Because if we had any sort of savings, we kind of would go through it during summer, because it's just so hit and miss with appointments. It's just there's not that many people here, and there's not very many conventions during summer. So we did one time in 2016. We said, let's just go to Aspen for a weekend. But the problem was, of course, that weekend my phone was ringing off the hook. So I was like, all right, I don't want to do that again. I don't ever want to go on a trip again unless it's for work, because it just irritates me. And it was ringing off the hook of people I already knew. So it's when it's someone I already know, then that was a guaranteed appointment that you just missed. If it's someone new, then you might not come to terms on everything, you know what I mean? You might not see eye to eye on some of the things they want versus what they do, or even the price or whatever. But someone you already know, it's oh, there goes that, and you just dollar after dollar after dollar, I'm oh, I missed that. So that's why we stopped ever going out of town. And I only go for work. I go to New York for work. I would never just go for fun. I wouldn't even want to. I'm not someone that I'm not a tourist. I mean, I like when I'm there for work, acting like a tourist, and walking around taking photos of everything, but not literally being a tourist. Not literally being there, not making money, just being there spending money. That's not something I'm into. I don't like just entertaining myself and spending money. I would prefer to be making money and getting some entertainment that way. Because like I said, going to New York for work is cool because I still get to be in Manhattan, but I'm working. So, and I'm like I said, would prefer to be there working. Being in Manhattan not working is actually just uncomfortable because it's so expensive that you're like, why am I spending this much money and I'm not making any money, and every day I'm just spending more and more money. That when you're working, then you're like, you know, it feels okay.
You thirsty?
Oh, thank you. I actually haven't. Have you got chopped yet or no?
No, I'm about ready to go.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking maybe you want to roll with, we can just migrate everybody. You need to stay in the car and just keep you yapping if you want.
Well, we're gonna lose everyone if we do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as soon as we leave the neighborhood. You should take a net though if she's
Well,
home.
I'll go grab her. She's walking. I'm cooking breakfast for the ladies, and then I'm gonna head out.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love to take you guys, but the problem is,
Oh yeah.
it cuts out in our neighborhood.
Earlier about they were saying it was the age gap. They just couldn't. They're trying to project the age gap that we have between because I was 43 when I started dating, and you were 26, I think.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you were 45, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, 43, whatever it is, whatever our difference is.
I mean, a lot of people
It
in their
doesn't.
20s date
It
people
doesn't
in their
really
40s.
matter, you guys. Age doesn't really matter when you're in love. It doesn't really matter.
Well, they're trying to make it sound like it's predatory.
It's not, because it would only be your age doesn't matter as you get older. You guys are saying when you're younger. Well, I was not young. I was in my late 20s when I started dating Richard, so it's not predatory. And I had already dated guys older than Richard. It's not like he's the first older guy I had dated. When I was 21, I dated a guy that was 45. So I like older guys. I find them to be more mature. I didn't really like guys my age. And even right before Richard, I was dating a guy that I was, 24 or 25, and he was 32. I was trying to remember the difference. I think I was 24 and he was 32. But he was still so immature at 32. So immature. And then we dated for on and off for 2 years. So by the time we broke up, he was 34, but so immature. So I wanted a more mature guy. And I had known Richard since 2009. And we had never planned on dating because we just knew each other because he lived at the place that I worked, but also through friends, we would cross paths often. Because my boyfriend was his next door neighbor, but that whole floor, everybody hung out. They'd go to each other's different units. It was very much college, at this condo, where everyone was friends with everybody in the condo. So you would just go, basically, go have, big, drinking fest at different people's houses. The different units. And so I had a friend, Jen, that lived on the 15th floor, so we'd go up to her unit sometimes. Sometimes we'd go over to so my boyfriend lived in one unit, and then Richard was right here, and then there was this girl across, her boyfriend, Claire and Tony. They were friends of ours, but Claire had a thing where she didn't like me just because I knew stuff about her that she wanted other people to know, but I never told anyone. I don't really care. I didn't know that she was worried about that, but she kept trying to get rid of me, thinking I'm going to say something, but I never said anything about anything. I don't care. But so she first tried to break me up with the guy named Brian. We were kind of only on and off anyways, but it was going to be hard to break us up by her, but she kept trying to kind of come in between us. But I was putting up with it for a while, but then I said, forget it, I'm done with this shenanigan. So then I started hanging out with Richard. And, because me and him weren't together, we were FTFs at this point. And they just kept talking shit about me, him and this girl and stuff. And I would see this stuff sometimes and I'd forget it. So I started hanging out with Richard. So then she gets mad at that and then tries to tell Richard not to date me. And tries to ruin that and tells him to not go on a date with me. And he's and her boyfriend's why are you so obsessed with Joy not having anybody? She already had a boyfriend, but she didn't want me to have Brian or Richard. So I ended up getting with Richard, and then that made her way more mad. She wanted Richard more than Brian. She was trying to keep all the guys that, as an option, I guess. But she used to come steal food from Richard, and Gloria would get so mad. And Richard didn't believe it at first. He's like, oh, she's not stealing food, Mom. You're just crazy. Yes, she is. That girl Claire is coming and stealing food from us all the time. Because Claire was actually bulimic. And Richard thought his mom was nuts. And then one day Richard walked into his unit, and there was Claire in his fridge with a fridge open, eating out of his fridge. And he was like, what are you doing? And she's just like, oh, I do this all the time. And he's like, you don't just go into your neighbor's house and start eating their food. Like, that is so weird, right? She would go into, like, because that's how Richard was just so, like, open about stuff, like, because, like, they always had tons of food, and, you know, he had owned the market below, so they had all this, like, food when the store closed that was, like, in boxes, like, candy and, like, everything that, anything that had been in a market that didn't sell after when they were closing, Richard brought home. So, like, they had, like, all these beers and things, and these huge, like, Sierra Nevada, like, tall, dark ales. They were so terrible when we drank them all. And we gave some away because it was, like, tons. But it was, like, none of the good beer left. It was, like, the worst beer left. And then, like the worst candies left, you know? But yeah, so she would just come and help herself and drive Gloria nuts because Gloria was living with Richard. Gloria had moved into Richard's unit. And I didn't know any of this was going on. But then as soon as I came over, Claire never came back over again. And that's why she was mad she couldn't get her free food anymore. Because it was kind of like, it was weird. I didn't know any of this was going on, that she was like trying to dominate this floor of like everyone that lives in the unit apparently is hers. So once me and Richard got together, she started hanging out with Brian. But he's an idiot, so that didn't work out. So she moved to Poland. But anyways, yeah, it was this weird, very like college mentality. I was friends with everybody because I had worked there, so I knew everybody in the building, where most of the people only kind of knew the people on their floors. So I was the one kind of bringing everyone together. I'd be like, oh, let's go, yeah, hang out, yeah, have friends, you know, and so everyone liked me when I worked there. Like, I got invited to everything working there. That's how I made like most of my friends out of the Air Force, because I had a ton of friends in the Air Force, and then I didn't really have a lot of friends after that until I worked at that place. And then like everybody would be like, Joy, you want to come out? We're going out after work, you can come out with us. And I was drinking, so it was like always going to bars, because that area, it's all bars. But so I would just bar hop with everybody every night after work. But I only worked a couple days a week there, you know. I worked like Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, I think, because I was also going to college at the time, and I was still doing a little bit of real estate in the beginning, and watching my stepbrother who's autistic. But then I switched and started working for these doctors because they were opening a knee injection clinic, and they wanted me to research all about it and stuff, and research all the stuff we would need. So I did all this research before the clinic opened for about a year. And then once the clinic opened, like I was the one helping with all that of the opening of the clinic. I remember my first day because I'd been working there for like a year on an iPad. They got me an iPad. These were like the first iPads. I had one of the first iPads. I thought it was so cool. People were like, whoa. And you know, it had, I would go sit at a bar to use their Wi-Fi, use my little iPad, because I didn't have internet at home. And I researched on this iPad everything. And then my first day, when we finally got the clinic where we had a building, I was sitting on a pillow with nothing in the clinic. There was like no furniture for about the first month. There was no furniture, so I would sit on a pillow on my little iPad, and they luckily got some Wi-Fi, and I worked for about a month that way until they started slowly. Furniture would get delivered, and so I had to be there for all the furniture to come in and all the stuff to come in and everything to get set up and everything. And I would order all the stuff too. I'd have to get the doctor's approval, but I would research something and then I would get their approval, and then they both had black credit cards. Oh, hi, baby. So they would give me the credit card, and they'd say, you know, I mean, they of course checked it. There was no way I could do like any fraud or anything like that. But it was, you know, they're like, here you go, just charge it, and then you know, give us the thing, and you know. First, let us know what you're going to charge, and so they charged everything to their credit cards until the clinic got running, and then they, you know, paid themselves back. But yeah, because there was two ER doctors physicians that were still working at Providence ER in Oregon, but they were opening. This was like their side business, and so I was their only employee for the first like year and a half. And then I quit by like 2 years because it was a great opportunity, but they put so much on me. Like they expected me to just be able to do everything and anything when I have like no medical experience. They had me doing their billing and stuff, and I'm like, so they started bringing in other people to finally help me. And once I kind of got more assistance, then I felt like, okay, I can finally quit. But they did make me write a 200-page manual when I quit. And I had to take like a month to quit so I could train other people. But I was like, and that's when I kind of got a little bit of an attitude towards doctors, because they could be so nice, but they could be such dicks too. And it was hard because I really liked them, but they started to just really make me mad because they were really arrogant about certain things. And like, I would research about something and then tell them, and then they just wouldn't want to hear it, like the truth about things. Like, they wanted so bad for like things to just be like so affordable for everybody, like, and just be like free for everybody. And I'm like, well, that's not the reality. And you can't even with like Medicare make certain things free. Like, you have to charge people and stuff. And like, but then they don't get, it's not much, it's like nothing for Medicare, you know. And it's just like there's all these weird rules with, you know, and there's all those HIPAA rules and stuff. And these doctors were just like not accepting whenever I would find out something that was like the legal thing that we needed to do. They're like, oh no. And they wanted the whole office to run on iPads, which was like unrealistic in like 2010 when that was, like, or 2009 or whatever when that was. It's like, you can't. And they wanted their medical billing and medical charting, you know, how you do it online now, to be through an Apple system, which was like, there was like one that could go on an iPad. It was called like Nimble, and it's the worst. And of course, that's the one we had to get, and it was like the worst, just because they wanted it to be on my iPad. And then we ended up not even using the iPads, because they were like, yeah, this is going to be a nightmare. Can you guys just use like a Dell? So we got Dells. But they wanted everything to be on iPads. And like, probably now you could do it, maybe, but you couldn't in 2009. It was like a nightmare. And I had to learn all the Nimble system. Like, it was like hours and hours of classes, you know, like one of those like a Zoom sort of thing where you're talking to someone and then you see them. So it wasn't Zoom at the time, but, and then it was also where they could move around your screen, you know, where they have it, where they're from somewhere else, you know, mirror sharing, or screen sharing. But it was just like, everything was like, oh, Joy will do it, Joy will do it, Joy will do it. And I'm one of those I will at jobs. Same happened with real estate. Real estate people would leave or get it, or I don't know. And they would just be like, oh, Joy will just pick up their job. Because I would. But by the time I left Keller Williams, I was doing like 5 people's jobs. And they had to replace me with like 5 people. And so if anyone thinks like me and Rich are lazy, we're not. We're not by any means. You guys don't realize there's so many hummingbirds around here. It's so sweet. They're just flying all around. We do stuff all day long. And we sleep way more here than we ever have. We've always been people that just been going all day, just doing things. And some people might say some of the things are childish and silly, but it's like, it's made us happy, you know, like when we're doing like our silly videos or whatever. And art takes a long time for one thing, but Richard is always doing things. Like, that guy is always busy, and it's not nonsense. I mean, some of the stuff people will say, oh, well, he doesn't, you know, he spend time making a silly video. Well, one thing, we are getting paid now by YouTube, so it's not complete, like, it's not for nothing. It used to kind of be for nothing, but we always kind of hope maybe in the future, but even if it didn't pay, it was like, it was fun for us, so it didn't matter. It was something. But Richard does a lot with all of the management of my job behind the scenes of like the all of the ads and stuff. Like, I don't deal with any of that. I mean, I'll help him pick photos, but like, it's a pain in the ass doing that stuff. It's actually pretty techy for girls. They're really clunky. Some of these sites, they're really old school, and I'm on, like, it actually would be very hard for me to figure out some of these things. Like, they're not as user friendly. And Richard's just always been so good where I don't have to worry about that stuff. And I do my texting when I'm awake, but if I'm asleep, he knows what I told him what to say. Like, I say what we say. I have like these spiels of things. This is what you say, you know. So he just kind of mimics what I say if I'm asleep. and then wakes me up, and then I look over it, and then I decide if I want to go or not. But there's so many things that like I could never do this on my own, because for one thing, a lot of the calls come when I'm sleeping. Same when I'm in New York, he even assists me by, like when I go to sleep, since we're at different hours, he tries to stay up much later than me, and then call me if something happens, because I won't hear when texts are going off, but if he keeps calling, I'll hear that when I'm sleeping in New York. But like I leave my phone on, but I don't hear like when the text tones of people are texting me all night. But if my phone rings, I will hear that. And sometimes he has to call me several times, especially if I had drank. But even if I didn't, sometimes, you know, you get in a deep sleep, and so then I'll eventually hear the phone. And but there's a lot of behind the scenes with this job that people don't know of, like you have to get on, you know, these different sites, and you have to do Bitcoin to even be on these sites. I have no idea how to do the Bitcoin stuff. But like it's complicated. Like, they don't take Visa. They lost their rights for Visa, a lot of these sites, because people are so uptight. So you can only use Bitcoin to pay on these sites. And so you have to know how to get Bitcoin, and, you know, have your Bitcoin wallet and do all that. And I don't want nothing to do with that. You know, we've had Bitcoin for years. We would have had a ton of money in Bitcoin, because we at one point had, you'd have to ask Richard the exact amount, but it's somewhere from 4 to 8 Bitcoins, but they were only $300 a piece at the time. So we were buying them, and we used them always for my ads. But so we would just buy. Richard always knew that Bitcoin was going to be something. He's always on those things, but then we don't really care. He gets kind of upset that we don't have the money, but I could care less. So I'm like, at least you're right about it. And I'm saying with Netflix, he had like 4,000 shares of Netflix in the beginning. He sold it. Yeah. But I'm like, hey, at least you're on. And he knew those things were going to be good. It was just, you know, you do what you got to do when you need the Netflix. I don't know why he sold that. He still kicks himself about that one. But the Bitcoin, we didn't sell it. We used it, because what happened is when we went in the cave, the Bitcoin jumped really high, because we had a bunch of Bitcoin, and it jumped, not like it is now, but it had jumped significantly higher than what it was. And when we got out of the cave, it took a second for us to kind of get back on our feet a little bit. So we used the Bitcoin for my ads for like several years. We didn't have to pay for ads. We used the Bitcoin, but then the Bitcoin skyrocketed, and we didn't have any Bitcoin left. But I didn't really care, because I was like, at least we got to use it. Most people are just sitting on it, and it's just going up or down, but they're not doing anything with it. You know what I mean? So it's not really anything, because one day it could be millions, the next day it could be nothing. So unless you're going to like actually use it, it's not really anything. You know what I mean? So I'm happy that for us, we made money on it, and we got to use it. And so to me, that was enough, because I'm not a greedy person. But, you know, they'd be, oh my God, you know, it could be worth millions. Yeah, and we're just sitting on it, but still, it could also drop and be nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, at least like we made money, and we were able to fully use it when we needed it. And I look at it as a total win. But yeah, like Rich doesn't like that, you know, that we don't have it anymore. Same with his Netflix. But see, those things don't matter to me. I didn't marry Richard because he was wealthy. He was not wealthy at the time that I married him. He had been wealthy, and he was going down. Like, they were going down when I met them. Like, they were selling everything, and Richard's father had died, and they were, you know, the businesses had, you know, got away. Everything, it kind of, Richard held on to it as much as he could with his dad dying, because Richard had to take over very abruptly. He was not planning on ever taking over his dad's business when his dad moved down here, because Gloria and John came here to visit Gloria's family. Gloria's family was already in Vegas. And while he was here, Richard's father had been complaining about his throat really hurting, and it was hurting even more. So they went to see a doctor, and they found out he had throat cancer. So they never went back to Portland. They just stayed here. They just stayed in hotels, and then they never went back. And then Richard helped them get this place. They got down payment, but they never returned. So Richard thought his parents were going on vacation. He's like not even working at the store. He has his own store. He had a store called Teller's. He's not working at his father's hardware store. And then they never come back. So Richard has to like take over. They left the house, and it was a disaster. It was, you know, it was a beautiful house, but it had been glorified that it was just like destroyed. And so Richard spent like $150,000 to renovate the house. He thought they were going to want to sell it while his father was still alive. But then his father, I guess they ended up getting a renter instead. But then when his father died, Gloria decided she wanted to sell it. So anyways, Richard had to take over the business. But in those 4 years that his father had the cancer and was passing, Richard made that hardware store into like, you know, $1 million business by selling Traegers out of the hardware store. So at first his father was just selling, you know, nuts and bolts, and it wasn't even really it was more a project for Gloria. You know, it wasn't really making them much money because Richard's father had other businesses, you know, and he was an accountant and things, so he had money coming in other ways. And the store was more just like a little fun project. But when Richard took over, it became, you know, $1 million business because they were selling the Traegers, and they were the top Traeger sales, and they had a website called PGO.com, pelletgrilloutlet.com. And when Howie went to Panama, is he sold that website. That website was still so valuable; it was still worth like $50,000. That's how we went to Panama, by him selling his website. But what was I gonna say? When I started hanging out with Richard, because I had known him when he had all this stuff, he was like, you know, not doing well. Like it was like he was very depressed about everything going on, and like it was kind of like he didn't know what he was gonna do. He was now, you know, a manager at a bar at a restaurant called the Brasserie downtown Portland, but like that was not what, you know, he'd been a CEO, he'd been in Manhattan, you know, like stock trader basically, and all these other things. And then to kind of be like, I didn't like seeing him as a manager. He was like, you know, he was positive enough about it, but I was like, this just seems below you. And I was working in real estate again. I was at a different real estate office. I worked at 3 different real estate offices. The first one was Kelly Williams, then I worked at the one called Realty Executives, and this one called Condo Real Estate. And so I was working there, and I was like, it was one night, you know, we had been drinking, which I always come up with great ideas, but it turned out to work out okay. It was the best thing we ever did. But I said, why don't we just go to Panama? Because I knew he'd been telling me that his father had property in Panama and that he'd never been, and that he wanted always to go because his mother's from there. And I was like, you know what? Now's the best time to go. Let's just quit our jobs. You know, you sell your website and we'll figure it out. And we thought that we'd get like regular jobs in Panama because we thought that there were jobs that there would be people that just spoke English, because Panama used to be very heavily populated by Americans when we owned the canal. But we no longer own the canal, and I don't know if there ever was a time that you could not speak Spanish and get a job there. I mean, we weren't thinking straight. I was drunk. So when we got there, we realized we were not going to be able to get a job because we were not fluent in Spanish. And so my job was legal there. And so after, you know, we were kind of realizing we need to figure out something if we want to live here, because, you know, we have this money, but it's going to run out if we want to live here. And because we were only going to go for 2 months, and we ended up staying for a year. And we wanted to stay longer, but we found out Gloria didn't want to come to Panama. So we thought we would go to Panama and get it all settled and then bring Gloria in and Ed. That was originally our plan. But when we spoke to Gloria, she had no interest in going back to Panama. She really doesn't want to go. She really likes America better. And we were a little disheartened by that at the time because we really wanted to stay in Panama. We didn't want to come back. But so at some point we realized, you know, we're over here, your mom's in Vegas, we're all the way in another country. It was very difficult. We're always trying to, you know, communicate with Gloria, but it was difficult. So we just, after a year, just came home. And Gloria picked us up from the airport back then in 2013, I remember that. That was the only time she ever picked us up from the airport. We never would meet again. We'd get a taxi or Uber or whatever, but the other times we traveled. But I remember that she picked us up in 2013. And we stayed at the D, and then Palace Station, and then we got an apartment. But yeah, and then we stayed here till 2020, and then we went back to Panama for only 2 months. We went back the second time, which was what we were going to do the first time. So that we wanted to live there again. Again, we thought we'd live there. You get all these ambitious hopes for us, but then in reality, when you get there, you're like, do we really want to live in Panama for the rest of it? It's just different. It's fun, but it's different. It's difficult too, because like if you're not fluent in the common language, it's just hard. Even things like we got signed up for a cell phone service, which theirs is a month to month, so it's not like a 2-year commitment. And we sign up, but it was just difficult. We had like a translator on our phones, and we were trying, but it was just, the whole thing was difficult to just sign up for this Claro, so the thing is just they give you like the little SIM chip back in the day. You popped it in your phone, but anyways, Richard said he's cooking breakfast, and then he's gonna run to the store, and then I'm gonna have my breakfast, which will be my beef burgers. I'm just gonna do Smith's today because I don't want to spend the extra. As much as I was enjoying those, they do make it does make a difference if you can afford it to get like Whole Foods versus Smith's beef. It's better, but it's $9.99 at Whole Foods and it's like $8.50 at Smith's. So it's significant when you're buying it every day and when you're buying a couple pounds, But I got a little treat from in there. But when I go to New York, I'll probably buy Whole Foods. Although New York has even better than Whole Foods. They have places that have better than Whole Foods. Here, our best option is Whole Foods. I am excited to have some good organic beef when I get to New York. They have the best organic beef that I've had. I've only had Vegas and New York for organic beef because Panama doesn't have organic beef. When we went there in 2020, that was one thing too that really irritated me. As nice as it was how cheap their beef is, it's so cheap. Everything's so cheap. It's conventional, but it's like so cheap. But I just really like organic. I like how it makes me feel because it doesn't have that, it's not, and I like the grass-fed organic because then it's not grain-fed, and it is different when you eat it. It feels different in your stomach. It digests much better with the organics, but it's smaller, so some people don't like that, But we did decide that with the bones, I think we like the conventional better. So Richard got some organic bones, and we had always done the organic bones, but like I found that it doesn't really make a really great stew. Like it's not nearly as like, I don't know, it's like dense, With those conventional bones, it can make it was like really nice stew. So I think we'll just stick with the conventional ones when it comes to the bones. That seemed to work well. We did that. So I had to throw out that one crock pot. It didn't heat up, and it just like destroyed one set of our bones. Because Richard bought a pack at Whole Foods, but I split it. So I put one into that, one half of it got kind of ruined. So gross, as if it was kind of just like not hot enough, trying to cook the beef at a not very hot temperature. So I switched back to the other. Gloria had 3 crock pots, but all of them were broken in a different way. None of them were like, it wasn't fully complete. So now I'm trying to like piece them together to make one complete one, maybe. Like take the ceramic that's not broken and put it in the base that works, and then put the one that has an actual lid handle on top. So there's like 3 different ones that all had different broken things. Now I'm trying to make one that works. No, I threw out the one though, because it doesn't work. The base, the ceramic part was nice. So I just used that, but the base was ruined. And I have all these ambitious goals before I go to New York, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I really want to get to the pool here. We have not gone. We need to get to the pool, and I'd like to lay out a day, at least, if not a couple days, so I can get a little bit of color before I go to New York, because you don't get tan in New York. Most of the sun's blocked by the buildings. You're walking in the sun for a little bit, but not enough to like for a tan, and then you're usually pretty covered in New York. I mean, it'd be weird if you walk around in a bikini. That would be ridiculous. But I'm saying, even, you don't necessarily wear the skimpiest of shorts. I don't, at least. Because I don't know, when you're walking around and when you're like taking the subway and stuff, I don't know. I don't want getting my ass cheeks hanging out my shorts or something like that. This is weird. In New York, I don't know. I don't need that much attention. But in Vegas, sometimes it's a little more common. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to describe. There are definitely sexy people all over New York, but you often wear more clothes, but you have to be sexy with a little more clothes because it's colder there, you know what I mean? So you almost look weird if you're wearing nothing, like not nearly naked, but you know what I mean? If you're like, in very minimal clothes because, I don't know, especially like if you're going up and down the subway, I mean, you want to be sitting on that dirty stuff with nothing covering your bum. You know, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to sit on the subway seat. Also, it's like, it would hurt. So I often wear pants unless it's really hot. Then I'll wear my longer jean shorts or my little workout shorts, you know, but I would never wear like these in New York. I wear a lot more clothes in New York than in Vegas. Like even when you go out, it's much more of a thing. You know, you got to put on sneakers. I wear like flip flops all over Vegas and like my pajamas half the time. I did wear my pajamas in New York if I had a jacket, but I don't think I would want to wear my pajamas without a jacket in New York. I'd feel really silly. But I do if I have a jacket on. Like I didn't mind when I had like my flannel pajamas and I had like a long jacket. Oh my God, I don't care, it was cold. But like I wouldn't just walk around in my flannels in New York. I did one time when I got too hot with my jacket and I was actually kind of embarrassed. Like it's just, I don't know, there's a certain level of class there. Like wearing pajamas is a little, you know, I mean people wear weird things, but usually not walking around in pajamas. You know, you don't see a lot of people in pajamas. Whereas in Vegas, you see that all the time. They're wearing their sweatpants, pajamas. There, generally people dress up a little more. So when I go out, it's a thing, you know, you got to put on a certain level of dress or you just feel really weird. And I don't like to be loud when I'm in New York. I like to blend in a little more. And I do blend in pretty good in New York because I'm a fast walker and I'm small. And in New York, there's people way smaller than me and way faster than me. Whereas in most places, I'm often, you know, one of the thinnest and the fastest walkers, so I kind of like don't fit in other places. Like in Vegas, I like, you know, walking way faster than everybody else. But in New York, people are like passing me and they're so small there because they're so active. So like I don't even look small in New York. Like I just look normal. And some of the people there are so small because they're, you know, like famous or they're, you know, models or something. So they're just very little, you know. But then you also have tall people there too. You have some really tall people in Manhattan. A lot of the Manhattan people that were raised in Manhattan are really tall. Like the kids are tall. So you have both extremes there. You have like small people, like a lot of the older people are so little. Like they're just so little. Some of the old men, they're just tiny little guys. They'll be walking around. And they got their, you know, thick little New York accents, or even the little ladies, the little tiny little ladies. A lot of the older people are a little smaller, and like the younger kids seem to be bigger. Like the younger gen are they're stockier and like taller. And then you got like some of those old New Yorkers, little tiny people. I always love just being in that atmosphere in New York. Like it's just such this bustling energy that, I don't know, if you've never been, I recommend going and having it on your bucket list, because it's hard to describe if you've never been. And you know, you see it in the movies, and it is similar to the movies when you get there, but it's way different when you're there than in the movies. But it is similar where like you do realize like you have seen a lot of New York in movies where you're like, oh, I have seen this, you know. So it does feel very homey if you have seen a lot of movies, you know what I mean, or TV, where you're like, oh my gosh, I know that, or something. So that it was kind of cool my first time going, because it was like I felt like I've always known this place, even though it's my first time being here, kind of thing, you know. And also because my family always talked about it, but so many things just kind of like clicked in. But like I said, I didn't understand what New York City was. I thought New York City was the edge of New York, like that there was like New York, and then there was like New York City was on the edge. I didn't know Manhattan was its own island, and I didn't know that New York City is not just Manhattan, that it's also Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, and am I saying this? Is there another one? Am I saying them all right? You know, the different boroughs. I don't know if I know them all, but so when people say New York City, it actually encapsulates a lot more than what you think. But they never rarely say Manhattan. Manhattan is what you're thinking of in the movies. It's almost always in Manhattan. You know, sometimes a lot of movies that they say Brooklyn, but then they usually say they're in Brooklyn. They don't usually say New York City, but Brooklyn is New York City. So it's very interesting how they always, like, I was even watching a movie just the other day after I thought about this, and it showed Manhattan and it just said New York City, and I was like, it always just says New York City, so that's why it's confusing for someone that's never been. They don't fully understand what New York City is. I didn't at all. And so when I got there, I was like, oh, so what I thought of New York City is really just Manhattan. And then you had, okay, so I fully did not get it. Because Manhattan is small, if you guys, for the people who've never been. It's only, I think, like 3 to 4 miles wide. And I want to say, I don't know actually how long it is, but it's not that, it goes from, I don't know how long it is, you guys could look that up, but it's only like 3 to 4 miles wide. So you can get from the east to the west really easy. And then where you go from, like, it goes, I don't know where Manhattan ends and when it turns into the Bronx. You know, you got Manhattan and I think they consider Harlem is part of Manhattan. I think, yeah, Harlem is part of Manhattan, but Harlem, I never go way up there, but I do believe Harlem is still part of Manhattan. But that you're getting up into the hundreds, so you're going from like basically 0 to the hundreds. But then downtown you have some extra streets additional to that. But I know when we stayed at the Bronx, the end of the Bronx was 242nd, and that was really fun. That took us like 2 hours on the train to get there. But I don't know where the start of the Bronx is. I want to say it's around, I know Harlem's like 126th. I don't remember where the Bronx starts. You guys might know the answer to that. But yeah, New York is cool because it's on a grid for most of the streets. So like if you're either uptown, downtown, east or west, and most of the areas you could just say, like I'm on 50th and 1st or something, and someone can easily get there. There's a couple of other streets thrown in there. So if you don't know the area, you could be like, oh, I don't know where Park is or something, or I don't know where Canal is or something like that. But once you've been there enough times, you know where all these different added streets are. But the other ones, it's just a grid. So if someone says, I'm on 50th and 1st, and you're on 45th and 7th, you just find each other. You know what I mean? Because you go, okay, I'm going over and up, or whatever, you know. It's very easy that way. So it's very easy to navigate. And that's what drove my mom nuts when she moved to California. She's like, California's so difficult. New York was on the grid. And it is very easy once you figure it out there. And once you learn all the extra streets. So there are several extra streets that are not numbers. But once you learn them, and they're more downtown, you get them more as you go towards like financial district. You get a lot of extra streets. You have like several down there. You got Fulton, you got Canal, you got there's Broadway. There's a bunch of different exits that you could jump off on the subway that you learn as you go downtown. And you start to learn the order of those ones. The subway's a good way to learn because you can check the stops as you go, and then but most of them are easy because they're just going in order. You know, if you're on 23rd and you need to get to 42nd, you jump on the Uptown train, you know. But depending on if you're east or west, when you take ones that go, I never take the ones that go east or west, the subway. I only take the Uptown or downtown. I'll just walk east or west. I don't like those ones. There's like I think it's like an L is one of them, and then there's another one that go east-west, but I usually just take the uptown, downtown subway because east-west is not that far. Like I said, it's only like 3 to 4 miles, unless you're all the way on the edge, and all the other edge, you're probably not, you know, you're probably somewhere in the middle. So like if I'm on 6th and I need to get to 3rd, I'm just gonna walk, you know. I'm not gonna subway from 6th to 3rd or something, you know, like something like that. But like if I'm uptown and downtown, you know, I'll jump in the subway and then get off closest to it, and then you know, zip up and then walk the rest of the way. It's usually the easiest way to get around. Uptown, downtown, very easy subways. But the other ones go east-west, a little more annoying. And when you first move to New York, you'll get on the wrong subway a couple times, and that can be irritating because you think you can just get off the next exit and get right back on your way, but not always the case. Sometimes it can be such a nightmare to get turned back around. But I don't think I've ever gone the wrong way on a trip except for coming from the airport. I got on the wrong air train one time, but I've always been pretty good about the subway because I put it on my maps on the phone, which makes it pretty easy. But you do have to be careful if you're not paying attention to the trains and you think, oh, my train's, like, you make sure there isn't a train coming before your train. Because you'll just be like, oh, here comes the train, and you jump on and you're like, oh, that wasn't my right letter. Oops. Or right number. And you're still here?
I'm still what? I thought we were going. I thought we were all going together. I just met the lady.
But we're gonna lose everybody.
What?
We're gonna lose all the reception with everybody. Why don't, or do you want to take over talking and I'll go for a minute?
I thought we could. We gotta get the
Oh, right.
I was thinking it was like 7 times.
Well, we're just gonna lose reception. Why don't you come out here and talk to me? I can't really hear you. That's right, we have to get weed. Problem is, as soon as we get in the car, it just like drops completely, like all the reception. It's so annoying in this neighborhood. So like as soon as we leave our place, it's just gonna, oh, hi Jeremiah, you're so cute. We named our one hummingbird Jeremiah, not the other ones. The two of them, too many to keep names, but Jeremiah, the one that hogs it, has a name. There he goes, running off another person. Another bird. Problem is it just drops. So like anyone that's in the room is gonna go to like 0, and then everybody has to try to jump back in, and often people move on because like it's such shoddy reception. So it kind of just kills our live every time we take it in the car. So it's almost like not worth it. It's like the live might be going, fairly nice, and then as soon as you get the car, 0, basically. It's like, and then it takes a minute for it to even catch up with the reception. We usually have to be a little ways from our house. So it just kind of, it's just, a way to kind of ruin your live. If you want your live to go to 0 viewers, take it in the car. And once, we're moving along, it might pick back up, but it kind of never really gets the steam again. So it's kind of, if we want to end our blog, it's a good way to do it. But it's annoying because if we had better reception, we used to love taking the blog in the car when we did Periscope back in the day. And even when we first started doing this, we didn't realize that it was just like so bad. And also, it's not fun for you guys because it's like super choppy and cutting out, and then it just stops and freezes, and it's not a good blog. But we do need to get some things done, so we might have to do that, or we probably have to end, because I forgot Richard wants to go get weed, so I'm gonna go with him because it's further to get weed. Like if he was just going to the grocery store, not that he can't go by himself, it's just then he's gonna be gone for a really long time, and I don't feel like sitting here while he's gone the entire time. I want to go with him. I like going in for going on a long drive, get out of the house for a minute. What do you want to do?
Real quick, how long have you been on YouTube and hello from Sydney, Australia?
What? Can you come? I can't hear you.
Well, I'm going to come chat with them and then I'll bring them on the road and get out of here.
Okay, well, yeah, we got to bring him on the road.
5 seconds.
Okay. My hearing's too bad for me to make out what he's saying when he's yelling from over there. I turned on my music, I still can't. He said someone said, how long have I been on YouTube? I have bad hearing, if you guys don't know that. I can't hear crap out of this here. But that's why I put the music, because it doesn't really make a difference. I can hear music. Not great. So like if I switch ears, because these have two, we have the volume set, so I switch to this ear, much louder. I have the volume louder over here, I can't hear that well. I lost my hearing in the Air Force. But how long have I been on YouTube? We had YouTube for several years, another channel, but we never did lives. Richard always just put up videos, and it was more the Raider Nation stuff. But we've lost access to that channel. That was the Jedi Rich creative producer one, because we don't have that phone that was associated with that anymore. We don't have that number anymore. and you can't get logged in without the number. We've contacted YouTube. So Richard started.
Test. Mic work.
So I think he started this before we were locked out of that one. Like he just started another channel because he was like, let's do this weight loss force one is what it was going to be called, because Richard wanted to lose weight after he gained a bunch of weight when we went to New York. So we went to New York at our fittest and at our best health, and we were there 6 months, was like really killing it with our diet, and then Richard started caving in, and once he caved in, I followed suit. I remember the first day he ate the first thing he ate was some thing from this cake place or something. Remember that? Was that place called that? It was in New York. It's like these pastries, and he comes home. I was like, oh no, this is bad. And then he ate some pizza. And I was like, it'll be fine. And then the next thing he's eating M&Ms, and then it was downhill from there. But he was acting so berserk. I remember the first day he had sugar. I was like, oh my god. But anyways, so in not long at all, Richard went from having a 6-pack to literally like Santa Claus. And you guys were saying I was being mean. No, Richard was the one saying it. Like I will never criticize Richard's weight unless he starts asking me to help him. Like if he goes, I'll never call Richard fat or anything, because I don't really care if he's like, unless he's being unhealthy. But he doesn't need to have a 6-pack for me. That's not a requirement for me. He looked great, but it's not something that I'm not like one of those. Oh, you have to have this buff body. But it makes him feel better. But so in New York, he got really upset, and so so we were joking, saying, yeah, you got like a Santa Claus place. It was like a joke. I was not in any way insulting him, and he was like, well, we got to get me back in shape. And it was hard for him because it was so drastic. It went from like a 6-pack to like really quickly just kind of puffed up because the amount of sugar he was consuming. It was like not good weight. Like I said, you can put on weight in bad ways where it doesn't take long, but you just, it's all negative weight. And so this was all negative weight for him from what he had been doing. And so, and he was starting to where he would choke in the middle of the night. Richard, when he eats too much sugar, he probably is diabetic or something, because he gets where he like gasps for air in the middle of the night, and it's very scary, and he wakes up and he can't breathe, and he jumps out of bed like as if a lightning bolt had struck him, and then he's like gasping for air, and I never know what to do, like, and this would go on any time that Richard was eating sugar regularly, and it would be very scary, and he'd be and so he started doing that a lot in New York, and that's kind of when we go, okay, no more sugar for you. And so that one video when I was saying Santa Claus, that was during the time that we had already decided we're gonna quit the sugar, and he was having like his last hurrah of sugar that night. I think he even got like a pizza and a milkshake or something. I said, okay, here, last night of this, then we're gonna get back on the keto, which we did for a while, but then we kept falling off. But what I was gonna say is Richard said, I want to do this weight loss force channel, and I'm going to show them me losing this weight that I just put back on and get back to my fit body. And that's how it started. But then I started documenting my eating disorder. So we had to change the name because it couldn't think that we were not trying to say I needed to lose weight. I was insanely thin, and I was weighing myself, and YouTube started like restricting if I even weighed myself because they thought I was promoting thin weight. I was actually trying to show my progress of gaining the weight back from my eating disorder, but trying to get over my eating disorder in the process. So it's like, yeah, you can easily gain the weight if you just stop your eating disorder, but that was something I was struggling with, like trying to get back on my health train instead of like just eating a bunch of sugar and just, so it was like, I want to do this healthily. So that's getting back on my keto.
Sugar cravings are very bad medicine.
I know, they're hard. Bad medicine. Sugar is bad medicine. Yep, the song. But, anyway, so it was called the Weight Loss Force, and then we decided to change it to the Healthy Family Force because it was more because of my eating disorder, because they were like, oh, you're going Weight Loss Force and you're like 90 pounds, what in the world, they thought I was wanting to
be. So we changed it to the
thinner.
Healthy.
Yeah, the healthy. Healthy Weight Force, I think is what we called it. And then when we brought in Gloria and Annette, because we were already doing the channel, then we
Good morning, Cody.
We called it the Healthy Family Force so that we could incorporate everybody. So we changed it like 3 times. But we never planned on it being what it is now, and it's better than what it was going to be. But people started to act like this whole thing was about like trying to use Gloria and Annette to get views, and that was never the case. We were always doing social media. It just happened to be when we lived here, it started to be something that people found interesting when we were showing Annette's progress. So we're like, oh, that's cool. But we were never like trying to have this whole channel be about her until like people were liking it. And then we were like, fine, let's make it Annette's Club Love. You know, we were naming the things because it was more like a thing for like, we felt like everyone was enjoying it that way and we thought Annette was enjoying it. But then people tried to just make it so dirty, like we had been trying to like, you know, extort Annette or just, you know, make her do these things or just weird stuff, you know, like we're, you know, using her for views. And it was like, that was never what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to just show her progress when we started showing her, you know, and it was, and then why we thought, you know, we thought everyone was enjoying the net stuff. So it was not like we were like, oh, we're just using Annette for views. We thought it was like this beautiful thing that was occurring with the family, that everyone was, you know, just coming together of like, you know, for Annette, you know, because it was all about Annette in the beginning. But then we kind of focused on Annette too long and started, you know, I forgot about Gloria and kind of we neglected Gloria a bit. And so now we're focusing on Gloria. But we never planned on this in any way being like, oh, this is a way we can make money is by showing Annette's progress. That's not. It was more like this beautiful thing that happened where we go, wow, look at Annette's progress, and Richard just started documenting it. So it was kind of sad when people just kind of tainted something that kind of just came together very organically, of like it started as something else and just kind of kept molding into something different, but never like an intentional to like, oh, we're gonna do this because this makes money. It was more like this was what people liked. Does that make sense? Like in the beginning, everyone loved talking to Annette. Everyone loved sending Annette t-shirts, you know, and everyone loved, you know, just really connecting with Annette. And we thought that was amazing. We thought that it would last longer just for because we felt it was good for her and for everyone else. But people's negativity kind of ended it. And so it went this way, and that's fine. You know, but now Annette doesn't really want to come on anymore because people were not very nice at times. There were people that were nice, but there was a lot of people that would say rude things. So now she'll say hi, but that's about it. And same with Gloria. Once Gloria heard some of the tension and when, you know, the ladies were questioning her, she kind of got a sour taste in her mouth about the thing, but also just the tension of police coming over because people were calling and the animal patrol and, you know, hearing us get upset in the beginning, you know, and they're just like, to Gloria and Annette, they're kind of like, why are you guys even doing the channel? It's like, why even bother at this point? These people are rude. But we just still wanted to just kind of like not have it be how terrible it did turn. You know what I mean? It's not even for us. It's not even much of a financial thing. It doesn't pay us very much. It's like, I mean, with the amount of time we do, it's not even worth the amount of money we make. In the beginning, we're making way more now. It's just like, but we do it because we enjoy it. And not coming on here, we kind of get lonely of like not ever being on, like because we'll go a little bit so it's not blogging, and then we're like, we just kind of miss coming on. But it was never this thing like where it was supposed to be at the money. When we started making money, we just got excited, is what happened. So we were like, wow, this could be something that supports our family. But we got ahead of ourselves and shot ourselves in the foot, and now it can't, and that's fine. Because I don't mind that I'm going back to New York. I actually am enjoying that. But it was just a lot of emotions, a lot of things, a lot of, you know, we were getting excited, thinking there was all this potential, but, you know, it's not that there isn't, but there wasn't to the level we thought it was, you know what I mean? And we hope, you know, as we go, you know, great if it ever, you know, if we ever are able to make more money, but if not, who cares? We have a good time. And if we make $0, we'll still do it too. Like, we don't really care at this point because it's not significant enough to matter. You know, I could like make up with it, no problem with my job of what we make. So it's like, it's more just, we kind of enjoy the experience now. And like I said, for years, we've been doing social media without ever getting paid a dime. So we did it for no money. It was never about the money for us. Twitter, we were on there for years, never ever thinking we'd ever get paid, nor did we. And same with Periscope and YouTube, same thing.
It was all about the love, and that's why he puts us at weird shit. We didn't even get monetized till very late on our other one, so we never got paid because by the time we got monetized, by the time that the stuff went through, we no longer had that number, and it's, you know, it was all this mess when we were moving back from New York, and everything got all haywire with our logins because we didn't realize we weren't going to be able to log into certain things, and you know. So it was a while before
we even tried to deal with it, and so there's probably money in there that we can't get. So Richard was trying to get signed up for the thing, I remember, and then because you have to, they'll say you're monetized, but then you have to sign up for all these things. You have to sign up to be paid by Google and stuff. And so we were going through that process, and then we were not able to log in again. So I don't know if it ever went through. Like, I don't know if there's literally money sitting there in the account if we were ever able to get in there, or if it didn't ever fully, if he didn't finish the stuff. I don't know which it is, but there wouldn't be a ton. We never got a ton of views on that channel, But this channel, we did not think we would ever even get monetized. Though we were just posting our progress of everything, like our progress of the weight loss, my progress of my eating disorder recovery, and Annette's progress came later. But it was always just showing progress, It was kind of like supposed to be like a motivating channel of like, here's how you can maybe get over eating disorder, here's how you can maybe lose weight if you're struggling through a keto diet, and then hey, here's if you're struggling with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, this is what helped Annette. So that was more our thought process always, but people really tainted it thinking that it was something very different than what we ever were intending, and that made it very ugly to me. I didn't see that coming, nor did I see it coming when people hated us with the Raider Nation. I just thought they wouldn't like my singing, but not like hate to the level they did, and the misogyny and stuff that I experienced from the Raider Nation crowd was shocking. I mean, very shocking, some of the things that were written to me on Twitter. And I was like, all I did was just sing the song, I didn't know. And they outed me and everything back then, even, this is back in like 2019. They outed me all over Twitter with my other job and stuff. I'm posting stuff on that stuff, and it was kind of unfortunate. And then, the pandemic happened. We didn't really have much going on with social media. We were always posting, but like we'd get like no views for a long time. And then this channel finally took off, and then the same thing happened. Just the level of hate and the disgustingness that came from it was shocking. Was quite shocking. I didn't know that occurred on YouTube because we'd never spend a lot of time on YouTube. Like Richard would post, but I was never over there, so I thought if anything the YouTube community was much nicer, because we'd always kind of received a lot of positivity on YouTube, more negativity on Twitter for the Raider Nation stuff, but most of our YouTube stuff had been always pretty positive. And then, this was just, we had never seen anything like what we got with this channel, several months ago, well, close to a year ago. It's definitely gotten better now, and there's a lot more love, so I appreciate that. But it was definitely just, I didn't see it coming, because we kind of just thought people would be excited at at our progress and Annette's progress of just like, wow, you have come a long way kind of thing. We didn't know that it would be so much like just hating on everything we did. But the good thing that came out of it is like, I think it helped me be nicer, because I probably would have been meaner for longer, like if I didn't have people constantly telling me how mean I was, and I'm like, what? No, I'm not. And then finally, like, okay, maybe I am mean after like a million people have told me I'm mean. Settles in. So it did kind of pull my head out of my ass in that sense, but yeah, it was definitely not what we had ever intended or to the level we thought we would get. So it was exciting, when we first took off, because we didn't ever think that would happen. So that was what we were talking about, and we're like, that was the most fun part of it, was the initial, when you're first taking off. And that will never happen again. So we kind of already experienced like the most fun part of our channel, was like when it first was like just like flying off the handle of like growing subscribers. It was like, we were like every day, like we'd watch it just like scroll, and it was like so fun, because we would like wait, like, and then we would reset the computer so we're like, you wouldn't know, and then we'd just scroll all these, and it was really fun, and it was just shocking. And people kept thinking we were, buying our, and we weren't, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like it was just so fun every day and then it kind of like died off. And then it was pretty depressing, but now it's starting to pick back up, but probably will never be like to the level it was, but like we're okay with that, because we're like, we had a lot of fun that first year, a lot of craziness, but also a lot of fun. And you're never gonna have as much fun as your first year of like when you blow up, because like I said, we've been doing social media since 2016, but mainly on Twitter. Tons on Twitter. We had so many Twitter profiles over the years. We had a couple of them got removed, usually for music copyrights. They used to be really strict with music copyrights. They're not anymore. I have had videos up for years now. It used to be if you had a video up for a couple of months, you would get, and if you had a couple of them, like, so if they did it a couple of times, you would lose your account forever. So like if you had made a video that had someone else's music, like how you do on YouTube, you know, like with the shorts, if you're to do that on Twitter, which I now will copy my ones from YouTube and put them on Twitter because Twitter doesn't seem to care anymore ever since Elon took over, but or X, whatever it is now. But when it was Twitter, they were very strict, and so I lost like 4 or 5 accounts due to me because I would forget that I had a video that had like some music, and so it wouldn't happen till later, and then like because we posted so much, and I would try to delete them because I would post something with music because it's way more interesting with music, like most videos. But then I'd be like, oh, I got to remember to delete it, but then I would forget, and then like several months later, I'd get like hit up with a copyright violation, and if you got like 3 of them, I think they would suspend your account. But so we had like several accounts, we would just start new ones. But and then my main work one, I got suspended. That one I was so mad about because I didn't think about it. It was so stupid. And I actually didn't fully understand this rule, is you can't have any, Twitter, you can have full nudity and you can have full porn and everything on Twitter. I don't know if you guys know that. Like you can post like anything like that to Twitter. People post porn stars post their videos, their porn videos, and it's fully allowed. But you just get shadow banned, so your account isn't easy to find. But you cannot put any nudity in the header or footer. And I didn't know that rule, but nor was I trying to do that. But I have this photo from New York that I took in 2021 or 2022. I don't remember which year it was. It was when we lived there. I didn't take it. One of my clients took it. He's a photographer. And it's me in a bra and panty, but I'm laying on nudie magazines. Old, like really old ones. They're like these vintage old magazines, you know, like Hustler, Playboy and stuff from like really old, from like the 50s, 60s, 70s. And so I was laying on these magazines and I'm like sprawled out in my bra panty, but I didn't think about the magazines had nudity in the photo. So I posted it to my header because I thought it was like this cool photo because it just kind of looked cool to me. And I put it in my header, and I was coming home I was in Long Island. The person that took the photo was in Long Island, and I was on my way back to Manhattan. This is in either 2021, 2020, and within like 5 minutes, my account went down. And I was like, and it said, you're suspended permanently. And I was like, what? And they said, yeah, because you put nudity in the header. And I was like, oh no. So I had an account that had a lot of followers, and it was my work one, and it went down on Twitter. It was Twitter at the time. I was like, oh. So then I had to start a new one. Now my new one doesn't have that much. I have like, I don't know, probably like 1,600 or something. I don't even know what I have. But I used to have like thousands of followers on my work one. So that was my fault, but I just didn't think about it. I didn't think about the magazines. I thought it was such a cool photo too. It was such a like, oh, I love this photo, and then be like, oh man. And Richard was so mad because he's like, why would you do that? Like, I didn't know. And I was sober. It wasn't anything that, it was literally, I just didn't think about it. I didn't know. Well, honestly, I didn't know the rule about the header and footer thing because the nudity is allowed on there. But honestly, I didn't think about the nudity on the magazines because I wasn't nude. So I didn't think about the nudity on the magazines, but nor did I know the rule either. So there was like several scenarios. I didn't think about the nudity in the magazine, nor did I know the rule about nudity in the header. So it was like a double whammy of mistakes there. And some of the accounts you can get back with Twitter if you ask Elon, but I didn't even bother to get that one back. It's been so many years. I don't forget. So I just started a new one in like 2022, I think. Or 2021, whatever. I started a new one when that one went down. But anyways, so I think we're gonna go get some weed. We've been down to the scraps for a minute here, and actually no, that's not true. We do have a little bit of flour, but I don't like it. It's lemon essence, which is okay, but I'm almost preferring the scraps, but there's no more concentrate. So that's what we have to get today is concentrate and just a little bit of flour. But the lemon essence, we don't have much left, and this is not that good. It was really cheap. I wish I got like a big thing of it for cheap. But we gotta do that, and we gotta get breakfast. I'm getting hungry, so let's go. And it's getting hot out here. So here's my umbrella. It actually did great blocking the sun. Oh, that's so nice. This was a gift from someone. You know, I love leopard. So people always buy me leopard. Hi, hummingbird. That's Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. When I say that, he like dances around. It's really cute. He's really cute. He likes when I say it like that. I've been doing it for he's been around for like a year now. Same hummingbird. And he likes when we go, hi, Jeremiah. Hi, Jeremiah. He starts like bouncing all around. He gets so excited. He goes like, ooh, 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 ooh. You ever see hummingbirds like get excited? They go, ooh, ooh, ooh. They go like up and down, up and down, up and down. They're so cute. Because you know, they're like, their wings are going so fast that they're staying in place when they go up and down, up and down. Hummingbirds are so amazing. All right. Thank goodness I had this. If this was not blocking me, that sun is intense. This was a great idea. Thank you, Joy. I have another umbrella. I told her. It's like a great idea. I'm gonna bring my umbrella to block the sun because we don't have like one. She said, it'd be great if you had like one for the chair. I said, you know what? I have an umbrella inside. So I give my other. I have two umbrellas. So I bring in my other one from New York, but I think it would be great because it goes over here. And he's like, Joy, it's clear. I'm like, oh yeah, that's not gonna help, huh? It's like clear with flowers. It's like, oh, I got another one. I got a leopard one. We get this done. Yeah, clear wasn't going to be very much help against the sun. I didn't think about it. I mean, I have my blonde moments, and I'm not even blonde. I might kind of dye my hair blonde a little bit, kind of. I'm like light brown, dirty blonde naturally. But I also have a lot of red in my hair because my mom is full-blown redhead. Like, not dark red. Like the bright orange red. Bright. She later, before she died, started dyeing it darker and didn't look good. It is better, the bright red. She started doing it more like, it was like, turns like more like burgundy. Not that good on her. My mom always wanted long hair. And she kind of had long hair, but like it never grew much past like here. She wanted it like long. So I remember she got extensions when I was a kid, but they were really bad back then. Like they didn't match her hair color. They were really tacky. And she insisted on getting these extensions, I remember. They were bad. But she wanted long hair, but she gave up on them. I think she only wore them for like less than a year. I was like, eh. But she had such pretty hair, but she didn't like it. She didn't like her red hair, my mom. She hated her red hair. I thought it was gorgeous. She hated it. So she was always messing with it, but she should have just left it alone because it was really pretty naturally. But she didn't start really messing with it till I was older with the color. But like I said, she was always trying to do like extensions and stuff. But she started dyeing it like I think like when I was in high school. And that's when it kind of started. Not even high school. I think it was probably more when I was in the Air Force. She started dyeing her hair, and it was not good. But I was like, don't dye your red hair. Don't do that. It's so pretty. She hated red hair. So she didn't want my hair to be red at all. And my hair is always a little bit red. So when you dye my hair, it always turns like a little bit red. She hated that. She kept trying to dye it blonde, and it would just turn red. Hi. Hi there. Is that Jeremiah? Or is that another guy? Is that Jeremiah? Well, hi, Jeremiah. There you are. The hummingbirds are so friendly today. Just keep flying up to me. Okay, I gotta get inside. It's getting hot out here. Even with my umbrella. Oof. Brush my hair. I always brush my hair all day when I'm doing it straight. That's how I kind of get it to be a little bit manageable. Otherwise, my hair is just like a frizzy mess. It's gonna be hot today. I thought it was maybe gonna be chillier. Not chillier. Chillier is the wrong word. That was gonna be maybe not as hot, but it just was a nice morning. It feels like it's gonna be a scorcher again. And I actually didn't notice how hot it was because this actually really helped because I'm blocking, the sun is like, would be intently on my face, but this really helped. Just blocking it because otherwise it's like, see like way on my face and then it gets hot. All right, well, I guess I gotta close this. We're going inside. Have an umbrella open inside. No, I've never used this umbrella. How do I close it? There we go. First time. You don't use umbrellas in Vegas very often, but now I found a use. Look at that. All right, ladies and gents, we're gonna mosey on inside. Water bottles out here. Oh, my butt is getting sore. He's going to swass today. Oh, too many things to carry. Okay, come on, you guys. We're gonna have to. I got too many things to carry here. Towel. Got a lot of things to carry. I'm not for that big water bottle. Loaded out inside. Hi, Gloria. Good morning. Oh, it's sunny out there.
And incapable of change.
Oh,
Sentenced to 30 years, most everyone expected he would be behind bars into his 70s.
okay. Where's Richard?
Right here.
All right, we need to get going. So I'm getting really hungry.
Okay, let's do this.
Because we got to go all the way to get the weed now before I can eat, too.
Oh, don't eat. Oh, sorry.
No, like, it's fine. We're not. It's gonna be like 2.5 more hours probably before we get back. That's fine. Let's go do it. I want him to go get the food and then, but he waited now. Now we have to go get the weed and the food. He was supposed to go while I was blogging. Was the deal is he was gonna go get the food, so then we could start breakfast. I want him to go get the food and then. Now we gotta wait forever. That's fine. He was supposed to go while I was blogging. Was the deal is he was gonna go get the food, so then we could start breakfast. All right, well let's go because I'm getting hungry. And I gotta change this. So you take them for a minute because I gotta get.
Thanks, guys.
Here, you take them. I gotta change.
I'm not here to bring them.
Oh, okay, we're in. All right, yeah, because I'm getting hungry.
Okay, let's go.
It's almost 9, and I probably won't be eating until like lunchtime. That's right. All right, bye, you guys. Oh, okay, we're in. All right. Great blog. I have fun.
Maybe now you're gonna hear this one. Sun shining. Yo.
I don't hate players, I love the game. I'm a shot clock, way above the game.
Be point blank with you. The game.
I got all this work on me, I ain't come for play.
You can show the little shorties how you pump a thing.
The dog.
Not to death, I'm not impressed. I'm not amused, I'm not confused, I'm not to do. I'm a grown man business, I'm not in school. Put your hand down, youngin', this is not for you.
On my jail, my beats with the Kanye, yo.
Name on a marquee, your name off the payroll. Style fresh,
Like I'm still a Dayo, and it's been like that since the Dayo.
On more time than a Rollie or Cinco.
Step on deck, your neck, or do what I say so. Get up or get out, get down or lay low.
Stand in the shadows. Open Jedi, I am Black Jedi, Black Jedi.
Let's move. Shout out to my man Khalid Kweli, we on top. Shout out, check it out.
Check it out. Slim Jedi,
Cast a big shadow.
Cherokee red to shoot the long arrow.
Got
More skill, more aim, and more ammo.
You can get it all from a big or small barrel like
Hail Mary, full of grace. Jedi.
Come and shoot up the place and make you pull up your face. The deck.
I pull out the ace from the jungles of the Empire State where there ain't no escape. 247.
718, and that's like every night, every day. From the place that I settle insane to the states, I'm collecting my pay.